Yeah, don't forget to do that. Are we live on YouTube? Let me look. It says it's being live streamed, so we're probably live right now. Let me check.
I've got to
Yep,
go
there
over
we
this
are.
one here.
Here we are. Let me get a link. Link. Okay, I put the link in the other chat.
So they'll have to go over to a new thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
They do
And
have to
let's
go over.
see. We've got Dark Side. We've got Jazz Naz. Hi. And Nan's Life. Hi, Nan's Life.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can figure out this where we are.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Rumor Has It.
Hi,
So,
Rumor.
Hey, y'all.
I guess put any questions you have for Jeremy and Travis in the chat. I don't know why I'm on the top. I have them up on the top. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that.
Stand up, Finn.
I'm shorter than you. What can I say?
I don't know. It was great to see all of those familiar faces in chat, and also some new faces. But yeah, that's been pretty cool to see all of those folks.
Yeah, it's been way too long since we've done anything.
What do we want to address first? I know we had some questions.
Well, I think there was a question asked that, before you get to Jax's question, since I'm not sure if he's here yet. Is it common for one organization to verify information they receive from another organization instead of just believing what was the information that was given to them? Is it common for them to
So
verify that?
It's kind of, so I equate it to I like to say, like, when you call customer service for IBM, when I talk to somebody at IBM, I don't, everybody at IBM just doesn't know that I called. So the next person I called doesn't have that information. Now, there may be some stuff left in, but if I'm calling IBM, I don't go with the next time I call and go, well, I talked to you guys. You guys know all this stuff. And that person's going to go, I have no clue. Like, so people assume in law enforcement that when one agency looks at something, it is now just everybody knows, and that's not the case. Everybody in the agency doesn't even know that agency doesn't know. So JJax, okay, there you go. I'll ask your question here in a second. I'll answer your question. I'll answer. I've got Jinx's question too. I've got to answer. So no, it is not common. Like, just because one agency does something, there's NCIC, which is the national database for everything that comes across for things. But just because one agency knows something doesn't even mean that everybody in that same agency knows. Does that make sense to you? Is that making sense?
Yep.
So, and if you're not in that, it's the best way to equate it is, like I said, calling a big company, and just because, or even calling your work for that matter. Even, I don't care if you work for if there's four of you guys that work in one place. Just because you call and talk to one person, everybody now in that company doesn't know what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're only know what is entered and what you look at. Now, if everybody was in a conference call, in that four-person company, yeah, everybody would know. But if you're talking to one person on the phone, or one person's entering things in the computer, there's no way for them to know and then you have teletypes, like we would get back then. We would get bulletins in our roll calls. Now a lot of bigger. I still work for a small agency, but I think even then, they're on their teletypes, on their computers. They have pop up stuff on their computers for things that bolos and stuff like that. Ours doesn't, because we're such a small department, but They can go back and look now on the computer, but we used to get printouts. And so uh, we wouldn't know until if we were to run something. And it wasn't a common either too. Like I had said this before, even when I thought about that Colburn was being correct in what he said. We now know that he wasn't correct. It's probably what he thought, and I'm not saying that he meant it by ill harm. It's not that and I'm going to bring back a subject here a second too about thought recognition. Remind me, Finn, if you would, to bring back that thought.
Mhm.
Because I like to chase rabbits.
But what was the thought?
The thought was bring memory recognition
Okay.
of memory recall of that, especially for him. Um,
Yes.
so what I was saying before that was um, in the NCIC, you have to look. Everybody has to look up everything, and usually has to be run through dispatch. Now we can look it up through Let's, and Let's is tied in with NCIC, and I can look up some of my own information. But
Speaking of
uh,
NCIC,
mhm.
J-Jax asked a question earlier. What was his question?
Yeah, JJX, I thought we would keep the same thing, so
Oh,
everybody's chat is gone
J-Jax,
off
would you
that.
mind
I'm sorry,
asking your
JJX.
question a third time?
It was a great, it was a great question, and I thought it would be there. Um, uh, crime fan girl. I'm just looking up, trying to look at chat order too.
Here, I might be able to grab it from the
Yes.
other chat.
Uh, if you watch
Wait,
the whole,
we'll give J-Jax the opportunity to spell everything correctly this time.
it was NCIC. I know that. So, um, while he's doing that, um, I will also address the what I was talking about with memory recognition. I get asked a lot about this, like this was a murder. Well, how does he not remember this kind of stuff? How memory recognition, Travis, you probably have taken classes on this and probably could elaborate on this better than me, but um, we all remember things that are pertinent. We don't remember the things. So at the time of this, and this is also why the case was closed out because it's just another agency, and the call the because it turned into a case, the case got closed because of that. Um, at the time, this was a missing person. So when he was doing all this, it was routine. I couldn't tell you last week what kind of vehicle I stopped when I worked on patrol. I mean, because it wasn't memorable. So, um, this was not part of the murder. He didn't find out about the murder till a day or two before. I equate this, and I like analytics, and I like scenarios. Um, I ask people, hey, what was something memorable from last week? And they'll say, hey, I went to my cousin's birthday party. Oh, cool. Cool. What'd you do the day before that? And they'll be like, I don't know. Well, that wasn't memorable because it was just before it. So that's the same thing with this. It's not memorable to Colburn that Remaker told him to run the plates because it was just it was a mundane call and it turned out to be a nothing. So really can't fault him. And then also he's asking, this is where taking notes would have, and having a better Iowa reports would have come into play. But uh, the um, uh, the thing with this though is he didn't remember that Remaker told him, and I think he's just going off of he may
Yeah,
have wrote it down,
he
and
probably didn't
and
remember that at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not saying that I would. I don't think it was nefarious. I don't think this was nefarious at all on his part.
Yeah, he probably
Um,
just like panicked, like,
yeah,
oh no, and then
and he probably,
made
in
it
all
up.
honesty, you remember certain things. So he may have called in because he couldn't remember how he had it written down, because Remaker gave it to him. He also had the teletype, the ATL, which had date of birth. So, like I said, there's a couple of reasons why he could have called, and I don't know the reasons why. I can give you the reasons why he possibly could have called, but I don't know for sure his exact definition. Um,
While we're waiting for J-Jax's question to be retyped again, Nan's Life asked a question about Wiegert. Wiegert was apparently already visiting Kratz on his office on November 3rd before the RAV was located. So why would he be talking to Kratz when Kratz didn't even have the case at that time? Anybody know the answer to
That is
that?
a great question. That's probably more of a JJAX question than anybody else. That part I don't know because I didn't. If you're asking just why Wiegert would have been, let's reread that question. Sorry, I'm rereading it. I have no clue why he would be asking, or why he'd be talking. And he may have been, well, I'll tell you this. Do we know for sure that Wiegert was talking about Wiegert was talking to Kratz about, that case? You got to
Man's
understand,
life, do you know?
Wiegert, that was his county, so it was not uncommon, and he's the lead detective. So it would be not be uncommon for him to be in Kratz is part of Calumet County, and so is Wiegert. So that would not be uncommon at all to be in the prosecutor's office regularly if you were the lead detective. So, oh, it's in Ken's book. Okay, I haven't read Ken's
Oh,
book.
Ken's book.
What did
Do we believe what's in Ken's book?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I mean, who knows? He's so full of shit about everything. So I'm
yeah.
looking over here for JJax's question.
Yeah, JJax, you answered that. Do you see? I can't see the other chat.
do you still have that window open, Jeremy? Because
No, because I closed it out.
That was your mistake.
Yeah, that was my mistake because I thought that it would all be. It's
I have the chat open, but I
totally.
can't seem to find the question. Probably because I'm
The
looking for
question,
it.
it was NCIC question up top, and I think it was.
I see it.
Okay, ask it.
Teresa's info was entered into the NCIC database a couple of hours before the ATL was issued.
Okay.
I feel positive that info had been verified, he says.
Verify. Yes. So it was, again, that JJax answers, goes back to the question. It just because it was entered into the NCIC, it wasn't verified. Verification means that it's correct. All NCIC is just matching up stuff in the database. So just because it's in NCIC doesn't mean every officer has it. You still have to run it. So I think that's why.
Yeah, they didn't run NCIC. When he said run the plate,
he called
she went to a
dispatch.
different terminal and ran the plate, which that's specific. Run the plate. They
Yeah.
ran it through Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and there's a screen for that. And then she
And that may be tied in, Travis, with the see, ours is Let's. So Let's ties in with NCIC. So that was it's probably indirectly being run through Let's. Indirectly being run through NCIC. Because like our computer database is Let's, and I would have to look up what Let's stands for. But I know ours interacts. It's just basically the portal that we use to get to NCIC, but it's not NCIC.
And I have no idea at that time so we have TCIC, which is directly connected to NCIC. You have to be certified in order to log on to that.
Yes.
I have access to NCIC, but you take this course where you learn that if you search something on there unauthorized, it's a state and federal crime, and
a buddy of mine actually got in trouble by NCIC.
Yeah. So, and then we have TLETS, TELETS, which is run by Texas Department of Public Safety. And that's all driver's license and vehicle registration data, but they're separate. But NCIC, you can enter vehicle information, gun information, gun serial numbers, stolen guns. I mean, you could enter a lot of stuff into NCIC. I haven't seen a report that Manitowoc ran anything through NCIC, but there's so much material out there, hard to say. But so I want to make sure we answer Allie's question on defense diaries, and
We need to definitely make sure we answer JJX. I don't know if that's answering your question. I don't know if you're maybe confused on how NCIC works, or I may be misunderstanding your question, but NCIC is its own verification as far as the information that's there. The ATL would have been just the information verified to that. So I guess I'm not understanding your question of what you're trying to get to. Again, again,
Susan has a really good question.
yeah, there was a question from there.
Why wouldn't Remaker say, did you verify that plate instead of, do you know who that plate comes back to?
It's just the lingo.
that's how coppers talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, that's,
Copper lingo.
if you said that, what was the terminology that?
Did you
she said?
verify that plate?
Yeah, did you verify the plate?
Do we know what that plate comes back to?
I'd end up getting a phone call going, what the heck are you talking about? Like what do we, that's not how we talk. So, what he's asking, and I understand what he's asking, do we know who the plate comes back to? And I don't know if I can't remember if this was addressed in our live or not. The reason for him asking that question is he was trying to know for sure the plate did come back, like the plate information had her information as far as her name, but what they're asking is who owned that vehicle. So is that her brother? Did her stepdad own that vehicle? Did her brother own that vehicle? Did her boyfriend own that vehicle? Is this tied to Zipperer? Again, you're flying blind when you're going to these calls. You're flying totally blind. So any information that you can get that helps you with the case, especially when you're going now from to a belligerent guy that, oh, wait, this may be something.
He's going to shoot us.
So, yeah.
I think, Jeremy, I'm wondering if maybe he said it that way because the alternative would be, do you know if that plate comes back to the missing girl?
Yeah,
and you don't want to put that over the radio.
Well, and
right?
And and the other, let me state this also too. And actually this comes back to, Jinx, this answers your question. I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. In another, we addressed, do you have that audio at all? The call, and it's on Foul Play.
Which one? Which call?
The one with Colburn talking to Remaker before that, the phone call talking about where like he rode past Zipper's house a couple times.
I'm sure we can find it.
Yeah, if
anybody has it, you can put it in the chat.
J-Jack's find it in about 3 minutes.
J-Jax, if you can put it in the chat, that would be great. I can't find anything on Foul Play. I'm so bad at searching that site.
That's right. I text him and ask him like, "Hey, where's this at?" 60 seconds or 50 seconds later, he's got it.
Yeah, he knows where everything is there.
So, Jinx. So Colburn talked to Remaker, and I can't remember if it was the phone call. I think it's a phone call. And he says he's drove by the house a couple times. Now a couple lights are on. There's a vehicle, so one vehicle in the driveway, and he can't identify it because I'm paraphrasing here. He can't identify the vehicle, probably because there was no lights outside. He can't see the vehicle. And that's something that I always thought too, is when he said, do we know who that plate comes back to? Well, he said there was only one vehicle in the driveway. And then they run, when he comes up to the door, when they go to the door, they run the sesquicentennial, I always have trouble saying that word, the sesquicentennial plate, which would be the vehicle that's in the driveway. So he's not running anything off of Remaker, or he's not running anything off of Zipperers, because he couldn't identify the make and the model of the car. The only reason why you couldn't identify the make and model of the car is if you couldn't see it. And if you can't see the make and model, I mean, if you can't make out the car, you're definitely not gonna make out the plates.
Mhm.
Especially when he said he didn't want to keep driving by as to spook. So you definitely don't want to throw a light on the car. So he's not running the plate. And then he is the big kicker is when he said do it, timestamp wise, that was the phone call that he made then. So there's nothing else that it could be. Um, and that's the aha moment was when he said do it. They understood what they were talking about, and I'm sure you get people working together long enough, you kind of know the lingo, and so he knew what he was saying. He probably could have said, I mean, they just left talking about the girl, so he did and the other reason, there's two reasons why I think that Remaker had him run it. Actually, probably three reasons. Where he asked him that question. Uh, they were in this meeting. Wiegert was on the telephone with the conference call. Um, uh, and it was Jacobs, Link, from MTSO, and Remaker, and then Dietering from Cal County was at MTSO. So it was all them in a meeting. We do know that Andy went over and ran a couple things about Zipper and possibly ran some other, ran a criminal history on Zipper, ran a couple other things. So I think the reason why Remaker asked if he knew who the vehicle comes back is if basically asking, did he run any of that information when he was running all the other stuff? Did he find out who exactly had that vehicle? The other reason why is I think he was and this is if you listen to the background, a lot of people say that's where they say they found the car and stuff like that. You can hear it's Dieterding talking on the radio. So he was either scanning and was on the Cal County's frequency, or probably, if all honesty, he was probably on their frequency talking to uh Remaker. I'm sorry, Remaker was talking to Dietering and probably Wiegert
Well,
on the radio.
when
So
people say they hear someone saying the car is here,
yeah,
that's
I
that's
don't.
somebody on Lynn's side. That's the person
Oh,
in the
okay.
background
Okay.
talking to Lynn.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. That's the
woman's
same.
voice
I'm just
is,
saying that the other,
yeah, you can
you
hear it
hear,
on.
because Dietering is talking, says something about Andy, and you can
Mhm.
hear it's a radio transmission that he is on Cal County's frequency. So
Mhm.
either by scanning or probably because he was talking to them and he didn't want to switch over. And he's also driving. So Andy's sitting there doing nothing. He's already asked Andy's sitting there doing nothing. He probably doesn't have the tag in his, right there with him. Andy's sitting there and he's doing nothing. So it's just easy for him to go. You gotta understand in this whole case, and I wish I could explain this to you. It's like anything else. Everybody does the easy thing. Um, this is all a thing of convenience for everybody, and that's just in life. Nobody's going to go out of their way to do it the hard way, most of the time. So, I think a lot of this stuff with corruption and I think it was all a opportunistic thing that happens. And let me catch up on chat because I'm sitting here rambling on and not looking at chat. Um,
Jack's gonna put in the call that Mystic Jinx had requested about the car at Zippers.
and was Remaker talking about the Grand Prix? He told Remaker about.
All right, so let's see if I can. Does that start at the beginning, Jax?
Okay, JJX. Okay, when I said I may have, um, I don't know what I said in that. Verified meant if I did say the word verified, I was saying they were verifying who the owner of the vehicle was, and I may have um, not communicated that well, but it wasn't a verification part of it. It was a verif. It was verifying is probably the wrong word. When I say verifying, like, is that who the girl comes, does that girl own the car, or is that owned by somebody else? And that is kind of what I was trying to say with verifying. Verifying who the owner of the vehicle is, for their own record, not NCIC's. They're wanting to know for their knowledge. So I hope that clears that up.
I've lost my chat, so
Um,
while I'm waiting
Mystic-
for that to come back, do you want me to share this, play this
Yeah.
call that Jinxie had?
Oh,
I
did
don't know where
Jinxie- yeah,
Travis went. He's here, but he's not showing up. I don't know where he is.
yeah, play
Travis, where are you? Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Share screen. And we need to share sound. Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Let's see if you can hear it. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
416, go ahead.
4164.
10-4.
432. Go ahead. One route. I'm in the church driveway right across from the residence. Any idea who that plate comes back to?
No, it's not this call.
It's after this. It's
Oh,
after
is it?
this.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
wait.
Negative.
It should have been before this.
Oh. I thought it was after.
No, because he would have arrived there. I think it's a telephone call. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
I've listened to this
Hold on.
1,000 times.
You got a phone? Nine seven three 5362.
I'm pretty sure it was after, Jeremy.
270 dispatch code.
Red 278, I'm sorry.
Myself,
Hold on, I know what's up.
Cal calling, I'll be out at a residence on B-Boy, just south of 310, east side.
10-4.
41.
10-4-401.
Here it is.
432 dispatch, can you run a 28 for me?
Go ahead, 432.
Sesquicentennial L Lincoln 7342 T-Tom. L Lincoln 7342 T-Tom.
I don't know where this is
10-4-432.
from, but
So that's the one I think that Jinx
No,
was asking
that's-
about.
oh, and I think this is the one right here. This is the one. that-
Jinx, what was your question about that?
Yes, he called in Teresa's plate before he called in Zippers, correct? Yep, you were correct. Let's see here.
Okay, now I got to figure out how
I
to
don't know
stop
where
sharing.
I don't know where this came from.
Oh, here it is.
So let me do this right
Know where
here.
what came from?
This from Clip. I don't know what that is. This was shared somewhere, so I apologize for whoever it's from. Mystic, I think I know what you're asking. Let's see. This is the call. This was the. Okay, I don't know where that clip it's from. I'm sure it's copied from somewhere. I don't know. And I'm
What clip are you
Um,
talking about,
that
Jeremy?
one I linked in the chat.
Oh, I
I'm gonna
don't
play that one.
see.
Look in there. Okay, let's see here. Jinx, I'm trying to check it here. When are the Korean calls being
I don't see a link from you and oh, hold on. Let me click it live chat. See if it comes up. No, I
Okay.
don't see. I just see a bunch of messages from Jinxie. I don't see anything from you, Jeremy.
Does anybody see anything from me?
Try again. Does anybody see Jeremy's link there? I don't see anything.
There.
Okay, now I'm not seeing anything, so it must be my chat is messed up.
True fan girl. Jinx, let me look at yours. Here, let me send it to you in our, you have our chat, our regular chat. Hold up.
Yeah. Oh, I see Henberry.
There.
Thanks
Good
for
job.
coming, Henberry. Nice to see you.
Okay, Jinx, you guys have to understand I have severe ADHD, so I will chase a squirrel, chasing a rabbit that is chasing a farmer, plowing a field. So apologize if I.
So what is this link you just sent me, Jeremy?
That is Andy talking to Remaker about it is the about zippers. This is before they come out there. He said they're heading out there. So that's him talking to him.
This is part of the clip we just listened to. This is the license plate radio traffic right before he calls in the license plate, but it cuts off after he says he's at the church parking lot.
Let me see here.
It's that same clip that we just heard.
Okay, you're correct. Hold on just a second. Hold on.
It just isn't the full clip.
It is no.
That's the one that was
it's
linked
not
in
that
the
one.
Reddit post that I linked to the
It's not that one.
day of 80,
Yep.
80 more things.
Correct. Back here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was that not the one, Jinx, the plate that he just hold on, let me pull it back up again. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, here it is right here.
Why can't I? Oh, it's over here.
This is what I was wanting right here. There you go.
Okay, so what is this?
That is the call that I was referring to.
Okay.
It's,
So you want me to share this one? Hold on, I got to get through the ads.
yeah, it's a telephone chat.
Oh, so this is a telephone call. Okay.
Correct.
All right, I'm going to play this. Let me know if you can't hear it or something. So far, there's no sound, so hold on. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Remaker.
Hi, it's going to be Andy when I hang up, Dave.
All right.
Thank you, bye.
You bet. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dave,
Yep.
lights are on at Zipper's house. His car's sitting outside. I can't quite see what it is, but it seems to be a passenger car
Okay.
sitting out in front of the garage.
Okay.
I didn't make contact. I hate to drive by too many times.
Sure.
It's a little white shack, detached one-car garage. Just
Shack
south
is
of
the word you said
310
right there.
Okay.
on B.
Just south of 310 on the east or west side?
It's east side.
East side.
Yep.
Okay.
Right across from that New Hope Church.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. All right.
Maybe check with Jim and see, is there someplace else he wants me to check, or does he want me to come back in, and what does he want to do?
Let me check with him. They're on a conference call with another detective in Cal County. Let me check with them and see what they want to do.
That's how we know that he was on the
Hang
phone
on
with
one second.
Remaker.
Sure.
Or with Link. Uyghur, sorry.
One of them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want a uniform over anyways,
Hey, Andy.
Yeah.
I think we're going to take a ride out there shortly.
Okay.
So if you want to kind of stay 1060.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit in that, it used to be a bank, now it's an insurance agency right on the corner of
yep.
310 and R. Robert. I'll be in the parking lot of
310 and
that.
B? Okay, gotcha.
310 and B, yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Bye.
So that tells how he was There was only one vehicle in there, and then they ran the sesquicentennial plate after they got there because he said, run it and find out who the person is, 21, which means give them a call, tell them that we're at the front door. And that was the sesquicentennial plate. So there's only one vehicle in the driveway. JJax, let me go back and I'm just re-looking at here. You said all the information was in the attempt to locate at 637. Yes, the information was there. It didn't that was what I was saying, verifying. It just said who the person was, what she was driving, that information. It didn't say it didn't express who the owner of that vehicle was. It didn't say belonging. So that was just the attempt to locate that they sent over, the teletype they sent over. Colburn should have seen that because he was on patrol, and there wouldn't be any way he would see that on patrol because Finn, do we have the teletype of what was there? I know I have it here somewhere. Is it here somewhere?
Maybe it's in
Yeah,
the
I have it.
okay, I was saying it's in the folder.
Yeah, but I had the and I'll show you exactly what was said, what they had. I said, it would say where it was. Can you pull that up in the folder? Because I'm trying to blanket it. I'll try to answer some of these other questions here.
Maybe. Let me see if I
Um,
can.
Case, you asked a question. I see somebody said, good question asked. Good question. Let's see.
So bright. Dying. Okay, let's
Okay,
see.
Case, R. Williams said, good question, Case 10. I know you are Case. I don't know who you are on this. I don't know. Somebody tell me who he is on this because there was a question that was asked and I don't see Case 10 oh, there it is. Okay, that is it. Where did you ask a question above that? I just see the one. I'm looking at this backwards. I'm not looking. I shouldn't be looking at this backwards.
Did you find it?
No, I'm looking at the chat. Now I'm chasing this squirrel.
No, I mean, did you find Case's question?
No, I didn't find Case. Case, ask the question again. So I don't know what he was referring to. I see your name after JJack sends a link. Then Case, somebody said, oh, okay, it's right here. If the plate call was a nefarious attempt to hide something, why would he leave a voice trail? Correct. Yep. Okay. True crime fangirl. Do it imply means run it. Run the do we know who it comes back to? And he said do it, which means run the tag to verify it.
Jeremy, what was it you were wanting me to pull up?
The teletype the ATL.
Here, let
attempt
me
to
give
locate.
you the link to the document.
Okay.
And maybe you can find what it is you're looking
Yep.
for. There's so much in there, I don't know.
Send it to me. Recalls begin at, I remember your call is second. Okay, let me look at this documents here. Ooh, I need access request. Should have access. Why do I have to ask for permission for access? Should have to ask for permission for access. Should have access. somebody wants to post what that teletype was.
I wish Travis were here because he knows where it is. He's the one that has it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have it.
If somebody could pull that up for me, that'd be great. And I'll finish answering these other questions in here.
It's not one of the links on this.
It may be. Everybody may be trying to spam me in there. I'm just trying to catch up to the very bottom section here.
Okay, here it is. Hold on. One moment. Let me enlarge this and share it. I found it. Where's the Zoom call?
Mystic, the timestamps, I think, if I understand what you're saying, the timestamps, we know the timestamps. Yeah, that's it right there. Attempt to locate.
Can you see it? Is it big enough?
Yeah, I can put it up. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So the attempt to locate, it says Teresa Marie Hallbach, DOB, has her DOB a vehicle listed to Teresa is a 99 Toyota RAV4 green in color, Wisconsin RP SW. So suspect white, suspect.
What does that mean? Subject WA.
This
Any
is
idea?
a white it's supposed to be white F. Where's it's white females.
Oh, white female.
I don't know why it's white A. Probably it's a typo.
It's
It says
probably another typo.
Yeah. JJ, I do understand what you're saying about vehicle listed to Teresa is a Toyota RAV4. I get that. That's just the teletype that was sent out. So through NCIC, what he's asking, it may have been verified at the time of that. This teletype, at best I remember, is what they got from Cal County to MTSO, and it says vehicle listed to Teresa, but just because it says that, there's no, and it's hard to explain. They didn't verify as far as them knowing that it was. It's not saying that it wasn't an NCIC and that it wasn't verified by Cal County. It doesn't say this comes from, it's directly from NCIC. Things like this, like the WA, I don't remember anything saying a WA white. Oh, it should be white F, white female. Subject. Oh, maybe green color. Subject. White A, and it may be something else. I don't.
You're
I
just
don't know
assuming the
terminology.
W is white. Might not
Yeah,
be.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It may be their terminology, their coding. I don't know. That this coding didn't look familiar to me. Same thing like color, WIRP. I don't know what that means. You catch up here in chat.
Wisconsin something plate.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
may
know.
be the RP may be their regular plate. I don't
Maybe.
know. Regular. It's and acronyms are, especially in teletypes, are
Mhm.
they short and dispatch. Even I have trouble even looking at ones that would come through for us. Okay, so yes, Mystic. Okay, best. You'd be able to tell me better than this. He actually went to the stations. He came late to the meeting. He left early from the meeting, and I think he went by to go see. I think on the way to, it's only 7 minutes. I did look that up. That's very interesting to me. From Zippers to MTSO is only 7 minutes. So I think on the way back from by stopping at Stevens, I think is when he ran by the first time and no lights were on, nobody was home, and then came there, and then I guess he came back, and I may be wrong on that. So that's what he was doing. Part of that was let's see here. Still, which maybe okay. There's several rare calls between, yes, and we do know the Spirit Coburn was looking for the current plate that wasn't verified. No, he wasn't looking for that. I don't think he was looking for that. It's not. So when I get a teletype, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't even really look honestly to. I don't look at the plate. Susan, I googled the zippers residence. Let me see if I can put it up there. From MTSO.
Jeremy, speak up.
I'm sorry, I'm probably a
You're
bad
kind
one.
of mumbling a little bit.
Yes, story of my life. Mumble. Let me pull it up because it was let's see here. So, I'm whispering to myself. I'm talking to myself. If you want to go run interference for me and read me any questions that are in the chat.
There aren't any right now. Then oh wait, Hembury said something earlier. Let me see. Oh, it was case 10's question. If Colborn's call was a legitimate call, why has he made false statements about it?
We addressed that in the
Yeah.
live.
We're in the line.
I'm sorry, in the first thing right here.
Jinxie says, so for 3 hours, Colborn was looking for a car and a plate that wasn't verified.
No, and that's if
What
you're
was
not in
he
law
doing
enforcement,
for all that
it's
time?
I pay zero attention to plate numbers. In all honesty, when I get a bolo that has a plate number, 9 times out of 10, I don't write it down. I know that sounds horrible. I look for the vehicle description, and then I verify the plate. So I would have been looking for a RAV4.
Mhm.
I would have no clue what the plate would have been, just because I'm not gonna write it down.
Hembury says you haven't addressed all of his false statements. I think you
addressed all of his
kind of did in the fact that,
faults.
well, Jeremy, can you talk about that? Like, when someone doesn't remember something and then later on they remember a little more and then a little more, and then next thing you know,
Yeah, it's
it was a sunny day.
yes. So people sometimes have a false memory of what they remember, and false recollection, and so yes, I do think he embellished, and then as he probably was a liar. I guess the best way to, and he starts believing his own lies. So
Where are my pearls? I need to clutch them. Jeremy,
yes, ma'am.
tell the story.
Oh, sorry.
Stop looking at stuff.
No, I'm Google this. So he just believes his own. He just makes up stuff and believes his own. Because like in ma'am, it was like I think I was doing this, and then in his deposition for his uh lawsuit, he remembers a little bit more, and then in Cam, like if you look at Cam, he was like, it was a Thursday night. I mean, he goes into great deal. Like he remembers so much, and I'm like, how are you, sir? How are you remembering? That's not a thing, sir. That's not a, like, I don't know where you're coming up with
Jinx
all
wants to
this.
know, but why lie at all?
I don't think it's just how he remembered. I'm not saying, I'm speaking for him, and I'm not, I can only assume. We know where assuming gets you.
He was just verifying a plate that belonged to a missing person. What's the big deal?
I'm sorry, I told you completely wrong. How do I share this? It's 9 minutes. It's 9 minutes. How do I share
Ooh,
this?
2 whole minutes longer.
Yes. How do I share this? Share.
So Jinx, I think he lied because he didn't want to be caught out. He was embarrassed that maybe he didn't remember why, and he just thought off the top of his head about, he just pulled something out of his ass, basically, of what his excuse was of
So
why he did
I,
that.
I will tell you, people that embellish
Mhm.
quite a bit.
Right,
I
Jazz
think
does.
so a great con artist, and I'm going on a little bit with this, but the greatest con artists believe their own lies. And I think he just believed that's what happened, and then he just there's a term for it, and I don't know if I know the term, but it's you start believing your own lies, then you start believing the reason why. So I don't think it's that he consciously, and he may be, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, maybe. Um, I don't, yeah, Jazz, that's probably he likes digging his own hole. Yeah, he's Remker told him to run the plate. Remker told him, Jazz, I don't, or Mystic, I don't, um, yeah, I mean,
Remaker told him to verify the plate, is what Jinx is saying.
but he said he had nothing to do with the lawsuit. I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Jinx.
Um, oh, I guess he was confused. Sapricop say something. I don't see Sapricop in here. No.
I think Travis, something happened to Travis.
Why hide it? I don't understand that. I'm just going off of what the factual part of it. Jinx was the the calls. Is Remaker told him to call in a missing person's plate, no reasons to hide it. Correct. Yeah. There wasn't any reason to hide it. He didn't hide it.
I don't think he was hiding it though. He just was using the phone instead of the radio.
And I addressed that. If you listen to the thing, I addressed why the
Well,
reasons why he
address it
would've-
again, Jeremy.
So back then, it could be for a couple of reasons. I don't think it was. I think he probably was for a couple of these reasons. Number one, he probably didn't. And this I didn't address this, but so I'll say it this way. He says at one point that he didn't put it. He didn't say it because he didn't want to put it over the air. Is the reason why he called it in. And then he says that the other reason why is he wrote it on his knee and he didn't know, couldn't read his own writing. So both of those can make sense. Honestly, I think the reason why he called it back then, you didn't type the airwaves because, if you had it, the airwaves were strict, like it was an unwritten rule. You don't ask questions over the radio because you're tying up the airwaves, because that's the lifeline everybody has is the radio. So if you're sitting there asking questions and you're having a conversation back and forth, the radio is strictly just for your information to get in and the other information to get out. So we were always told if you have questions or you don't, it's going to take a long, it's a conversation, call or wait to get dispatch, to do that. So that makes sense of why he called it in. I don't know if you realize the reason why he called it in was because Remaker told him to. The other reason why I think he called is I would have called it in. There's a lot of times when patrol's working, the detectives are doing stuff we have no clue what they're doing, like, and so causes a little bit of a panic. So I would, if it was me and I was in Colburn's shoes at this point, I wouldn't call over the radio because everybody's looking for this RAV4 anyway. And so you're calling in plates just because your detective told you to verify that it comes back to Teresa that owns the vehicle, essentially. And so they don't know that's the reason why. So if you're putting it on the radio, everybody's gonna go, "Do you have the vehicle? Does that mean you've got the vehicle?" I mean, he'd be getting his phone to blow up, like, or the radio calls to call him, like, is he got that vehicle? Is it where's he at? And they don't want everybody coming over there to to B, which is the road that Zipper lives on, Canyon Road B. So that honestly, that's part of the reason why I would have kept it off the radio if I was in his shoes. I mean, it's not like you're trying to hide anything. It's just you got to explain to you got to play telephone with everybody, and everybody's going to be calling dispatch, going, "Where are they at? What are they doing?" And that happens a lot of times. We'd get a panic attack, or we get a panic phone call, um, and the detectives will be doing something, and then they need patrol because they need more people, and we have no clue what they're doing because they didn't tell anybody, and they don't. I mean, it's no reason to, because officers are nosy, and so they'd be driving by, and they'd be asking stuff later on, and it just it's like little kids. It's seriously like it's like little kids. It's like the nosy, you know, anything like teachers, everybody gossips about everything. No different with cops. So I think that's the reason why he called it in. It's just keep it off the airways for the officers. He may have kept it off there because I don't buy it, because that part of it. I mean, I personally don't think so, but it may have been. I can't speak for his actions, but I would have kept it off the air for that reason. And then he also said that it was a conversation. So if what he says in cam is, again, I go back to, if somebody tells one lie, I can't believe anything they say. So I'm guessing here, like if that part's true, he's saying that he didn't know for sure what it was. So that's a conversation. That's not running this exact thing. I think he had the teletype there, like J-Jax was saying. I think he had the teletype. I think he was reading off of that personally, but I don't know. I can't speak for that. But if that was the case that he did write it down, that's a conversation. I think that's that 8, I think is the number I think it was. That could be like a 6. So he could have thinks it's an 8. It could have been a 6 the way he wrote it down. So, hey, run it this way. Does it come back to a RAV4? Or does it come back to, and I think he was trying to say Teresa or RAV4 or something. And
That missing
he
girl.
missing girl. He got cut off by Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
So if that would come back to like a 99 Silverado, hey, run it with a 6 instead of the 8. Run it this way. That's a
Right.
conversation.
Or nothing at all
Yeah.
might
So
come back.
it might come back to nothing. It maybe come back to, so that's the other reason why. So, but all those were, there was no, I got a lot to catch up on reading here. He's verifying. Okay.
Yeah, I hope nobody had any questions for Travis, because I don't know what happened to him.
Travis is his bedtime.
He just
it's-
fell
yeah,
asleep on
it's-
his desk.
It's 8:00. He's, those attorneys are, hey,
He's
listen,
probably
his billable hours were up, so he has to like,
he's probably trying to format
Yes.
something in WordPerfect
right
right
now. And bless his heart, he is not the technical savvy person.
I'm sure
at
he
all.
does fine in WordPerfect.
Wait, is he totally off this call? Because I'm gonna get a phone call here. Oh, he's still.
Yeah.
I think he's still here.
He's still here.
I don't
He's
mind.
just
I don't. Hell,
away.
I'd say it if he was here. So I don't have a problem with it. But he has people for that kind of stuff. Like he's got people that
Got
he has to do
people,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, do this, and he bills out
Sure.
billable hours to people. Like
Yeah.
I think if I was an
Used to be a
attorney, and
paralegal.
yeah, see, you got
Like,
people. I'm like,
build-
hey, make
yeah.
this happen. So, and they make it happen. So, yeah. It's
Well,
technically
Does anybody
not
have any more
severe.
questions, or are we
I'm
ready to
let me-
wrap this up?
I'm trying to, let me see if I'm blue gray. I don't know about the blue versus green thing. I don't remember told him.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Jeremy? I know Travis
Um,
had something, but
Um,
guess it wasn't that important.
let's see here.
He can always make a social media post or something.
Yeah. Where'd you go? Oh, okay. Let's see what else did I write down. Oh, something I wrote down. I think it was JJX. May not have been JJX. Somebody was talking about corruption. You can have several people corrupt in a department. The only way corruption works is usually it's the same thing like mafia. It's no different than the mafia. Um, you have a lot of people in the mafia. So is you rule with an iron fist or you have blackmail. That's the two ways that um, you run corruption. So you can have people that you can have a couple people that know in a department, but you have to have things hanging over their head. In the department that I was in that had corruption in it, and it's usually by a supervisor, usually by somebody um, who is in a brass, you know, lieutenant, captain, chief type situation, or sheriff instead of chief if it's sheriff's department. Um, the corruption works by control, and so uh, how you keep people that know about the corruption in check, that truly know about the corruption, is you have something over them. So if you have nothing over them, they have nothing to lose. That's the whole reason why. Um, and I'm not going to get into debate. So don't blow up the chat about this. I'm not going to put this in debate because I'm going to address this. I'm going to say this, um, but so this is not a
Uh-oh,
chat
controversy
thing.
coming up. Everybody got your
Yes.
popcorn?
Yeah, everybody gets
Let's go.
popcorn. So the whole thing, this is my personal feeling. I think that Teresa was incinerated somehow. And that's a thought in the community. And people think that they took her to a family of one of the Manitowoc guys that owned a funeral home. Okay, the problem with that is it's very hard to incinerate a body without anybody knowing about it. Like that, like you have to have,
Yeah.
like they have nothing over their heads to keep them from coming forward to go and, hey, there was some weird stuff going on with that. And I know, and that you're talking about a murder at this point, if they're, you know, if that's the case. I feel like her remains was charred enough to a incinerator level, as far as like a crematory level, burn. So taking it to a actual funeral home and having somebody in the funeral home know about it, like there's nothing to stop that person from coming forward, because a good person, their conscience eats at them, and they may keep quiet, but their conscience bothers them and they have to clear the conscience. Usually it's a deathbed confession or something like that. So, and I'm just bringing that up for example. That's the reason why I don't think it went to anywhere, because you can't bring too many people in this thing that isn't connected. And now I'll just say in my thing, I think there's only one, possibly two people in law enforcement that truly know what happened to Teresa. Um, it's not there's no way it's a department wide conspiracy. And I think people in the department helped and aided in that. And I think I mentioned that in the premiere, um, that for the greater good is what I like to call it. Things they do things because they know Stephen's guilty and it's for the greater good. They're going to do this.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
the key, for example.
Mhm.
I think that, but that doesn't mean that those people know exactly what happened to Teresa. Like
I
that
think
was
the
one
bullet
thing.
was another
The
example of that
bullet's another
greater
example
good
of that.
thing.
In,
Mhm.
and you have to also think that, and I've thought this too, like you want to think the best of your officer, your fellow guys that you're working with. They're not going to do something like this. So if you're naive enough to know that, think that, like, I think that's where Colburn's at. Colburn's a yes man, and so Colburn's at that stage where he's
Think?
not gonna. Yeah, I mean, that's just. I mean, Colburn is a yes man. I can
I
say
mean,
that.
that's on his name tag.
Yeah,
Colburn,
yes,
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 man.
man. So same thing with Flink. So they both were yes men, and yes men don't question.
Mhm.
You don't question your authority or your leadership, and so I'm not going to even entertain the thought of there being something wrong because I have no reason to question that. So they asked me to do this, but I know it was for the greater good. Was it wrong? Sure, it's wrong. But at the end of the day, the bad guy got locked up. So I'm sure I got a whole bunch of stuff right here.
Jeremy, what is your at name in YouTube?
I think
It's not Jeremy.
Is that Jeremy Kiefer? I think.
Mm, mm.
I have a verified account, so I'm assuming that's what it was.
Are you have to be there because you're looking at the chat, but I don't
Yeah,
see you. Type something.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah, what the heck? When I do the at symbol and type in Jeremy, oh, now it's coming up. Okay, there we go.
Colburn got in the chat and was messing with it. So yeah, there you go.
He's
I don't
not,
know why.
I
don't
think
know
he's
why I'm red.
technically-
Why am I red and nobody else is red? Or
You're
is that
red?
just showing up on my end?
Maybe
It's
you
me.
were not, I don't know. You don't look red
well,
to me.
well, you're yellow, so I'm assuming because we're in the, like, you're yellow and I'm red. Anyway,
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe.
anybody else have any
Perhaps.
questions?
But anyway, yeah, anymore. I don't recall she's talking about Candace Owens.
Right, I missed that.
How many Ravs were there? 2, 3, 6. How about 1?
Yeah,
I think there was
man,
1.
the whole. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but man, you have to understand, like, you guys want these officers to do way too much more work than what they got to. Same thing with Stephen Avery. You want him to do way more stuff than what he, like, you gotta understand people are lazy. I'm lazy. Who wants to, like,
It depends on how bad they want to get Stephen Avery, I guess.
yeah,
I
but
still
what
don't think there was more than 1 Rav,
but
though.
what I'm saying is, like, if there's an easier way to do it, like,
Yeah.
why are we going the long way? Like, the only way I could possibly think that there would be 2 Ravs is if Manitowoc okayed the state, and I don't understand how that would, but if the state or Manitowoc somehow got rid of the first Rav and now they're wanting to do evidence, that's the only thing, and that's a very far-fetched thing, but the possibility of getting that same Rav and then either painting it, like, the chances, like, that's, and if you're thinking even the Rav at the time of when it was found, I'm talking about now, like years later, possibly the 2 Ravs, the possibility of you trying to go find the same exact Rav, like, that's no, like, no, that's, ooh, that's crazy. Like going to trying to find another truck like I drive right now, that matches the same year and we can make it this, like, that's a lot of work. Like, you're not understanding. That's a lot of work. Yeah, I'm just not I'm not a fan, and it's not, is it plausible? Sure, it's plausible, but it sounds good on paper, but you have to understand the work behind it. That's kind of like me loading up a dump truck and having a crane there that can unload it, or I decide to go in there with a trowel and scoop it out. Why would I, like, there's there's a fine, backhoe over there that I could scoop it out with, or a track hoe that I could scoop it out with, but no, I want to use this trowel instead. Like like, no, nobody does that. Like you'd take the easier way. I know the dump trucks empty themselves. I get that. But I was trying to make an analogy there. And I had a uh thing here, and I had a thought that I was gonna, I don't know how you just did that. Let's see here. Oh, to get that out of the way. Well, if I say, oh, there you go. Okay.
Jeremy's talking to himself again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am talking to myself. There, it went up top there. Somebody brought up something.
Oh, are you
I-
looking at JJAX? Is
I
that what
don't
you're
know.
talking about? As an
No,
armchair detective, a bolo alert would be important and correct.
where's
I'm
that
not
at?
trying to be argumentative, just an observation.
Where's that at?
Scroll up just a little. Right above
An armchair
Henbury saying we should
detective.
chat, which you should.
Got it. Yes. No, I don't, JJ, I don't disregard the bolo alert. Um, um, I'm not, and I apologize if I gave that assumption. I am horrible. Like if you give me if anybody if you ever want to share something with me, like information wise, as far as like numbers, give it to me, because I won't remember. Like I literally have to ask you like right after I put it in, because I do not, like, that's my kryptonite. I don't remember numbers. So, or like problems, or like, like license plate. I don't remember, like I think it's without looking, it's SW something is Teresa, and I've looked at it a million times.
Sam William Henry 582.
Yeah. So, I know the SW. I knew that with the Sam William. That's,
SWH.
can't tell you the rest of it. Like, kind of maybe.
So
But so to answer JJ, I may have come off wrong with that. In a bolo, I look at, because that's usually verified, what kind of vehicle it is. I look for the vehicle, then I verify. Like, I'll get behind it and say, hey, what was it, bolo? Which has happened before. I'll turn, who I'm with, or if usually I'm with somebody. If I'm with another officer, if they write it down, now it comes up on our computer. But back in the day, I never would write it down. I would look for that vehicle, because I could remember the vehicle. And I may have been driving, couldn't write it down enough, and I would look for the vehicle to match the description. And what something else is that's very it's very funny that you guys might not even know in NCIC. It's gotten better, but back then, in 2000s, like it was not uncommon at all to, when you ran a tag, it gives you color description. I would probably say 35 to 40% of the time the color was wrong.
Hmm.
And that's a new car. It's not like it was painted. It was
Mhm.
just like you'd pull over a white Caprice, and it would be a red Caprice. Like the color would be like not even remotely close. Like, and so we never took any faith in what NCIC had in vehicle description, because that was one of the first things when I did. It was like, something's wrong with this car. Like they pay, no, that's a thing. Like it's very common to have that.
Henbury is
have it be wrong.
asking, what state and jurisdiction do you work in?
I currently work in Alabama. I am in a police department. I think send me a DM. I'll tell you which department. I don't know if I don't want to get in trouble with my chief. I was told to keep anything related to them. You could probably Google
No
my
problem, no
name.
problem.
Um,
TT or a true crime fangirl.
Or you can go, so if you look at my Facebook page, I'm in a uniform. I'm with Owens Crossroads Police Department in Alabama. It's
There,
right
said
outside
it.
of, yeah, I said it. So they just didn't want me to wear anything uniform related on the podcast. So I don't think I'd get in trouble for that.
True
Uh,
Crime Fangirl says something about the blunt bloody object, and I just learned recently that the blunt bloody object was only mentioned in the words come to me in the search warrant. It was mentioned in the search warrant. It's not, from what I understand, and I would love verification of this because I just heard this, that it was mentioned in the search warrant, but it wasn't actually found. There was not a blunt, bloody object found.
oh, this is this is right up J Jack's alley. Like, if you
J
want to get him,
Jax?
if you want to get him tore up, like this is the thing. Like
Yes,
he's tight.
exactly. Henbury, a
He is
draft search warrant that was never executed. Sorry, Jeremy,
he
go ahead.
is he is typing right at this moment. I
Okay,
promise
we'll
you.
wait and see what J
Yeah,
Jax has
like
to
he is
say.
like I can hear the keyboard from here. Like
Is it on
he is.
fire? Is there
Yes, it is.
smoke?
It's yeah. It's there's yes, that's his trigger button. So and rightfully so. I do yeah. There's a lot of things with that. Yeah, and listen, Jasnet, I'm if there's not one, there's got to be four. So yes. Um,
Disturbed Earth, unfiled warrant. Disturbed Earth.
JJ, I think she's talking about it's what was in the bloody object, the bloody object in the RAV. Is that what you're talking about, Finn?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
may be talking
that's
about
what-
the
yeah.
Disturb Earth over
Oh,
on Cuss Road. I may be,
yeah, I assume so. Yeah.
yeah.
Something happened over there,
Yeah.
but what?
I have a hypothesis, but I'm not gonna.
Disturbed Earth, the tarp.
Henbury, yes, just yeah. I've always been in a police department. I've never been in a sheriff's department. I've worked with sheriff's departments. There's a little bit different in sheriffs and police. Not really in the law enforcement part of it. It's just the sheriff is elected, so honestly there's a lot more politics in sheriff because the sheriff can come in and he can fire everybody that's there and put his own people. Like he can bring his best friend in to be his deputy and stuff like that. There's no nepotism laws or anything like that. So that's not uncommon for a long sitting sheriff get upseated by a rival person who believes totally opposite and him declare it clean house. So that you find that more the police chief is at the leisure of the mayor typically. I know it is here in Alabama. I think most states it's that way. It's the mayor appoints the police chief or hires a police chief. Sometimes I guess it might be city council, I'm assuming, but I think the terminology says that it's appointed by the mayor. But I think it's most places vote in city council. But like, again, I say most states, anybody can run for sheriff. Like, you don't have to have law enforcement experience, which I think is very weird. So, that's the difference in, but I've always been in police departments and I've always been in small agencies. I haven't been in anything bigger than a 40-man department. I've been in departments, three of the departments I've been is the size I'm at now, where we have 6 full-time officers, 4 part-time officers, and 10 reserve officers. And I've been a reserve officer for almost 30 years now. So that just means I don't get paid. I own a couple companies, and so I've always liked law enforcement. But I felt that if I did that, I wouldn't make money you would make in business, and also I think it would become a job and not something that I enjoy. It's my way of giving. It's my way. Honestly, it's my way of giving back to the community. I enjoy I enjoy law enforcement. I feel it's a way that I'm giving back part of
Mhm.
what I do to the community. And so
So what are we looking
that's,
at here?
um,
So is this the
see,
the draft?
I told you that he was burning up the keyboard. I told you. Yes. Please. See, please. Yes. Yes. Scooby DA dog. Yes, you're
Scooby
correct.
the dog.
The dog.
The dog. I
Sh-
met the real Scooby the dog
Oh,
and
did you?
Scooby and Scooby.
Hey, D, cool. Good. Glad you made it here for the last part of it. Cool. Um, he slid in like the last bottom of the ninth.
ID.
All right. From 11 onward, they're very interesting.
Okay. So here's something. Maybe I should make this a little bigger. Hold on. Let me find it. It's gone elsewhere. One moment. Okay, here we go.
Are you so true, Chime Girl? I don't know if you're being facetious or if you're actually asking if I feel that there's corruption. If you do, say the one, say one way or the other, and I'll give you my thoughts. Yeah, Scooby, um, in all honesty, sick for 2 weeks. What? In all honesty, most departments are very transparent, and majority of the agencies I've been around are good agencies. There's bad apples. I've been part of one. There's good and bad. The first department I was in, I probably wouldn't have let my chief run a popsicle stand. Like he was horrible. He had no business being in law enforcement. Second department I was in had some corruption in the in the higher levels, and that is verified by news articles and or, I want to say more words carefully there. But the department I'm in now, if this tells you anything, I physically live an hour and close to hour and 30 minutes away from the apartment I work at now.
Wow. It's a long way.
Yes.
Can
And
I ask or did you have more to
no,
say about it? Because I have a question
Sure, go
about
ahead.
what we're looking at here. What is this? What is this that we're looking at? Because this says your affiant was also informed by investigator Tom Fassbender from the Wisconsin Department of Criminal Investigation that blood was found in the 1997 Toyota RAV4 belonging to Teresa Hallbach and located within the Avery Auto Salvage compound. Stephen Harrington of the State of Wisconsin Crime Laboratory in Madison stated that technicians had located presumptive blood in the rear cargo portion of the vehicle, which we know that's true, right? And also in front of the vehicle in the ignition area. We know that that's true. Steve Harrington further indicated that technicians also located visible palm prints on the rear hatch area of the Toyota RAV4. We know that's true. There was also a blunt instrument upon which blood was found located in the rear of the vehicle. Is this
So
the draft?
that's what he is. That's where
What is this that we're looking at, J-Jax?
Let's see here. 11. Oh, you're truly asking. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, I'm asking J-Jax, what is this that we're looking at? Is this okay, so this is the draft search warrant that was never filed. So why would they include that in the draft search warrant that was never filed if they didn't, if Steve Harrington didn't, oh, I scrolled back up, sorry. If Steve Harrington didn't tell him that,
You could,
he's swearing that
can-
this is what he heard
you
from Steve
can,
Harrington, right?
well, it just says that part. He doesn't say he also said this. It just says that part there. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I truly believe that there was a blunt instrument, but scroll back. It says Steve
Sorry, I'm
Harrington
scrolling back. I'm
further
just slow.
indicated the technicians that
Steve Harrington
Then
further
further
indicated
yep.
the technicians also located the palm prints, right? There was also a
But
blunt
wait, there's a
instrument.
period there. There's a period
Yeah.
there. There's nothing that said, and there was also a blunt instrument. So it was period. So you can take that as that may be hearsay, that there was also a blunt instrument which blood was found located in the rear vehicle. I'm totally playing devil's advocate on this part.
Mhm.
So, and I'm looking at it like a defense lawyer would say, in that. So do I believe there's a blunt instrument? 100% believe there's a blunt instrument.
Mhm.
But you can't in the way the sentence is written say that Steve Harrington said that there was a blunt instrument. And it may imply that, but the way it says there, it should say he also said that there was a blunt instrument. It doesn't say that. It says there was also a blunt instrument, but doesn't say. I do believe that probably Steve Harrington probably answered that question, but it's the Cuss Road unfiled warrant. Oh, ooh,
Mhm.
Cuss filed.
Hi, random pieces.
Hi, random.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, if
The
you ask
Cuss
me,
Road.
do I believe that there was a blunt instrument upon which blood was found located in the rear of the vehicle? I would say absolutely. Absolutely. Where is it? Show it. What happened to it?
True crime. I'm gonna answer your question. Yes, but not to the degree that most people think it is. It is impossible to. I think you had what you had is opportunistic things happen. I think the way the RAV.
Can you just state what question you're answering right now? Because
Yes,
I don't know.
she said she's asking if I thought that she said I'm not clear if Jeremy feels that corruption is part of this case or not.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So and then she said she was asking that. I don't think it was a big conspiracy. I don't think at all it was a conspiracy by Manitowoc to put away Steve. And the whole department was behind it, and we're we're gonna get him, and I don't think it was that at all. I truly don't think. I think there was some officers who did some things that they. And I've said the story before. Let me say this story because this helps out. Stephen was a dirtbag. Everybody knows that, and nobody disagrees with that. We have a guy in our town. He's been in jail because he pissed off the judge. He's been in jail for like 2 years now, and the town's been great. He's our local crackhead. Literally rides up and down the highway, cars going by 65 miles an hour. He's been run over by an 18-wheeler. He is literally a crackhead. I don't know, like he causes so much menace. Like our office, this is how much our officers hate him because he makes our life miserable. He is trespassed from our Circle K, and he rides his bike everywhere. One officer, one officer, like can't stay. Like he's a thorn in his side. Like he's impounded like 7 of his bicycles, because he can't. Like he's like he finds any reason he can just to So the and he's not the only. There's an officer that he's trespassed from the Circle K, and they'll watch for him to ride his bicycle over the corner of the like the sliver out by the interstate or by the highway that the Circle K owns that he'll ride his bike by and they'll arrest him for trespassing. And the reason they do that is because he's trespassing, but they know that later on that night he's going to be stealing something and they're going to have to do some kind of report. So he's better off in jail. Like, so like our town has been wonderful since he's been in jail. He's pissed off the judge and he was in for like, I think like, I don't remember, 3 months, and I was in been like 2 years. He's pissed off the judge. So, it's so, let me back up. He, right outside of our jurisdiction is a, concrete plant, like like the concrete trucks and stuff. And they left their keys in the ignition. And, cause I mean, who's going to steal a concrete truck, right? He, his bike was found. So a concrete truck was stolen. It was crashed about, a half a mile down the road. A bystander that stopped, like the car went on the uh the truck went off the thing, it hit a tree, and the witness said that one of the witnesses says he got out of the car, slammed the door, and said, "I didn't want this job anyway," and took off into the woods. Well, this guy's bike was found right outside, like they had these concrete barrier things like they have on the highway, and his bike was found right out there. Um, and but another bystander said it was a black guy, like this is a white guy. Do you know how much effort we put into investigating that case? Like 0, because we like it. We didn't have any factual. We had bystander, but I mean his bike was there, like because he's a dirtbag. Like we know that like this would be something he would do. He'd get high and he'd steal something, and not even know why he got. So I mean he probably did. But what I'm saying is there was somebody contradicting that said it was a black male. Do you think that we put a lot of time into seeing if that was actually a black male? Like his bike was there. It was like we know he's a dirtbag, and we know that this is his MO. Like there was not a whole lot of investigation that went into this, like it would be for something else, because his bike was there. That's something that he would probably say. So I'm not saying we did anything wrong, and I wasn't even part of that. That was what I was told from the other officers. So, but like it was a kind of just an open and shut case that we arrested him later on for it. And I honestly don't know. He may have had other things with him that said he may have had the keys or something. I don't know, but they didn't press the concrete plant didn't press charges. Really wasn't any damage to the truck. So we really like it didn't really go very far with it. So, but my thing is that he's a dirtbag, and that's the same thing with this. I think they all think that he's a dirtbag. It doesn't take a lot to like, they're not going to put the effort into finding out that he's like innocent. Does that make sense? Like everybody thinks he's guilty, so he's probably guilty because, it's just because he's a dirtbag.
So it makes them more comfortable with,
Yeah.
say,
And
say
I don't,
planting a key or
yeah, it's
bullet.
again, the greater good. And I say that word, it's not a greater good, but it's the greater good. People do
Travis
things.
called it something else, and I can't remember now what it was. And of course, he's
can't.
not here to tell us what it is.
But I call it the greater good. You do
Yeah.
things something for the cause, the greater good of the cause. And
Noble cause is what Travis called it.
noble cause.
Noble cause.
So
Who needs Travis?
yeah, we got this. And we don't get the billable hours, so it's even better. I think the guys did things for the greater good. And in their mind, that's how they justify it. So it's not anything that they're doing wrong. I think that they, see, so far behind.
Yeah, Scooby, reminds me of the woman leaving Walmart who was mentally, I think she had dementia. She was leaving Walmart. She had picked up something without paying for it. And because of her manner of speaking, the police officer who went after her didn't believe her when she was just saying, I just want to go home. She truly didn't understand what was going on. And the police officer mistook that for her being, for lack of a better term, a dirtbag, I guess. And he was really rough with her, unfortunately, ended up pulling her arm out of the socket, and it was really a bad situation. So yeah, perception really, really does matter, Scooby.
And Henberry, I'm not disagreeing with you because I didn't watch off cam. I don't know of anything that Steve didn't own up to on his mistakes. And if there's something, somebody tell me. I personally don't know of anything, and I'm not disagreeing with you or Cam on that. I don't know of anything that he didn't fess up to that's verified that he did. Does anybody else know that if there's something I'm missing? Scooby, what you said about like, you have to understand small town mentality also. Family name gets a bad rap. You got to understand his brothers were all dirtbags too. His other brothers, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think isn't two of them sex offenders, if I'm not mistaken?
At least one of them is.
I think the one
I
that was in
think both of
Cam
them might
and
be.
I think the one that was I'm almost positive the one that was in Cam and the one that was the one that ran the well, I can't think of his name. I think they both are. I mean, so the connotation of the name didn't help the fact either with him. And then that him bringing it kind of brought him notoriety and kind of brought a bad name a little bit to the because he was kind of a local celebrity. I don't think that had anything to do with the reason for the framing. Honestly, I don't. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I will not elaborate any more on this, but I don't think anybody in Manitowoc Sheriff's Department had anything to do with this as far as like orchestrating anything.
Mhm.
I leave it at that.
I don't think anyone on the Avery salvage yard had anything to do with it, even though,
No, I
you
don't
know,
think so. Oh,
it
I
is
know
in-
something I want to bring up, and I'm trying
Okay.
to get. So I love, like I said before, a lot of you don't understand the whole how things are. Like the easy, everybody wants to take the easy way, especially a criminal. There's a reason why they're criminal. They want to take the easy way out. You very rarely find somebody who wants to like do things the hard way to get something done. If there's an easier way, they're going to take it. I'm trying my best to interview I went to a recycling plant. We're moving one of our shops in our company. And so I had a bunch of stuff and it was like 700 pounds. Took it to the scrap yard and I paid guys to help load it in my truck. Broke my tailgate in the meantime, and I made
Oh,
$50.
geez.
So yeah, I wasn't very happy. It was the first time I ever sold scrap because I'm like, we got all
Uh-huh.
the scrap stuff. I'm gonna throw it in the dumpster and everything. When I come
Sure.
back, I was like, throw it in the dumpster. I don't know. I'm not going.
Not
No,
doing that again.
I'm not doing that again. Like I've just paid you. I probably spent like $400 now breaking my back tailgate and paying everybody else to make $50. But anyway, I went to so I noticed that they had a crushed cars in the back.
Mhm.
And so I asked for the manager and I was like, hey, I had this, like, you're going to think I'm retarded. He said, just bear with me. I said, how well do you know about the, like, crushing the cars? He goes, well, we don't really crush cars here. I mean, but you buy them, right? And he's like, oh yeah, we buy, that's what mainly we do. We buy crushed cars. I'm like, cool. I was like, any chance I can interview you? Have you watched Make It Murder? And he thought I was crazy there for a little bit. And but as I got to talking to him, he was like, oh yeah. He's like, so he was telling me all the stuff that they go through, and I'm going to try my best to interview him. For those people that think that Stephen would have put the RAV on the that he would have left the RAV for the guilters. I think that he would have left the RAV on, and I'm not saying he didn't, but like it'd have been so much easier to take the RAV and take it to Green Bay and light it on fire. How would he get back?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, to do everything, like it would take him days to dismantle what he'd have to dismantle. Like if it was what I think it was, I asked him about the car crusher, like if some of the portable ones, if you had, because some of the ones, he said some of the older ones you had to take the engine and the transmission out because it couldn't crush it with that.
Right.
So he's going to see if he can find out from that one if that was one that you had to do that with. So he'd have to take all that apart by hand without the Averys knowing about it. So that means he'd have to do it at night. I don't know if anybody's ever taken a motor and transmission out of a car without the benefit of having the loader, because the loader would
Mhm.
have made things a whole lot easier, and that's what they used. Talking about days to
I mean, if you take
do
it
things
out like
quietly.
little piece by little piece, I
Oh yeah,
guess.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it would have taken time. Like he'd have been up at midnight doing this with nobody else seeing, with hiding light, and like if
Yeah, no way.
it makes the job 10 times harder to do,
Mhm.
to like for what he's doing. So without having the benefit of the loader there and him, nobody else seeing him. Is it possible? Sure. But I mean, he's doing all this without supposedly being seen by his family,
Mhm.
if is what they're saying. So I asked him, I said, hey, I said, what's the possibility? Like, can you walk me through, like, I don't, you can watch the video. It's fine. I said, I want you to walk me through the process of what it takes when you get a crushed car in, like what it has, the ramifications of you finding. At first, he thought I was talking about putting a body in the car, and I said, "Well, I like the way you're thinking," but so, but I was like, "No, he hid the car to." He didn't say he hadn't seen Making a Murder. I
Oh,
said, he's like, I may watch that. I was like, yeah, you probably would.
maybe he will now.
Yeah, you might now. So he's got to check with his company to see if he's allowed to do. And I said, even if I
Okay.
even have you on audio without giving
Mhm.
your name and where you're from, I said, it would give a great. He's like, yeah, that's not a. He's like, there's no way that. He said, did he took apart cars? I'm like, yeah, they had a junkyard,
Mhm.
and he's like, I don't know anything about the case, but he's like, that's not the way to get rid of a car. Like he would not, like if you wanted to get caught, that'd been definitely the way to do it. He said, we verify every VIN. He said, we have to run every VIN.
Right.
And he said there is a humongous fine for us not running it. So he didn't go into detail because he would say that
I mean,
he's
I
not
doubt
gonna
he'd be
able to-
concerned about that in this
but
case, but
about what?
about running the VIN. If he's going to crush Teresa's RAV, he's not going to be running the VIN.
No.
Steven.
No. The recycle yard has to run the VIN.
Hmm.
So when they sold the car, like he's like,
Yeah, but if he's going to be breaking that down to scrap, he's not going to be selling it. He's
no,
going to be
the
ditching it
car,
somewhere.
no, the car crusher would just crush the car.
Hmm.
Like you'd have to take it from there and he'd have to bury it. Maybe that'd be the
I
only
guess,
thing.
yeah, or burn
But
it. I don't. But then why
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
you
what,
just burn it?
yeah,
Okay.
that's my point. Like
Mhm.
they are all
Mhm.
saying that he was trying to crush the car. He was
Yeah.
trying to get the car to crusher, which would mean the car would go with the crushed cars to the
Right.
recycler. The recycler is the one who's telling
Except
me
he,
that,
there's, I mean, okay, yeah, I guess maybe he would send it. I don't know.
yeah, you'd have
If
to,
he's dumb enough to crush it, I guess he's dumb
at
enough
that,
to send it.
yeah, well, yeah, you just made the car now inoperable. Now you got to
Mhm.
drag it around with the loader.
Right.
Like,
Right.
why else? Like,
Yeah.
that'd be the dumbest thing to
Let's
do
draw
if
more
you,
attention to it.
yeah,
Mhm.
like now you get this crushed car that you can't move. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, no, he definitely was good. If he was going to crush it, it was going to the recycle bin
Mhm.
or recycler. And so I asked the manager, I was like, hey, I was like, and I understand this is 2005. So you know, and he's like, no, this has been a thing for forever. He's like, we have to run every VIN, and there has to be, we can't take a car. We have to actually report the car, if the car doesn't have a VIN. So actually it goes into a verification process where they tear it apart and they look for the VIN, because there's the VIN stamped on different things,
Mhm.
like on the motor
Right.
and also on the
Mhm.
frame, and they all know where that's at. So they have to take apart the car, try to find some verification of that, and then that has to get reported. And then because if not, there's like a humongous, he didn't tell me what the fine was. He was going to tell me all that later on. He was going to go into detail it, but he was like, he said, I don't know anything about the case.
Well, if you do get that
Yeah,
audio, let us
yeah.
know.
And
Interested
because I
in
thought that would be
listening
kind
to
of
it.
cool. Um, just
JJax
coming from
has
somebody else.
said, I believe there were a few officers that acted independently to quote, help the case, noble cause. I believe there were serious issues at the Madison Crime Lab. My opinion, he says.
Honestly, honestly, I think you are correct. You are correct in that. I don't know how nefarious the crime lab was. I think a lot of it was, how do I word this? A lot of it was incompetence, especially a lot of this fell on dumb luck. To be totally honest with you, like I've always said this case is opportunistic. Anything can be explained like it may seem like in this case, it may seem like it's something that took a lot of planning, but it was opportunistic at the time. Like it was what happened. And so they just took it from here to there. We all think that we don't know what that part of it is. We all think it's this elaborate thing, but I guarantee you if we ever found out, it would be the shortcut way to do something. It wouldn't be the hard way to do it. Scooby, we are kind of in the same thing. Let me go back up here. We can address that. I missed a whole lot. Let's see here. Look at the positive, folks. Okay. Yeah, our town is actually very small. We are right outside of Huntsville, Alabama, which Huntsville is actually the biggest city now in Alabama.
Is it really?
Yeah, you have Birmingham. Yeah, so you have Birmingham and Mobile, but what people don't understand is that is the city of Birmingham itself is the metropolitan of Birmingham is what makes Birmingham big. So you have Hoover and Mountain Brook and Vestavia Hills and stuff like that are all considered Birmingham, but they're not Birmingham. They're another town.
So JJax has said, sorry, Jeremy. There were intentional things done at the crime lab.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Virtually zero documentation on so many events.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I guess I let me reword how I said that. I don't know I guess I should say, I don't know to what level was nefarious as far as on purpose versus just incompetence, I guess is the word I should say.
That's a really good question because I think it was a combination of
it was
things.
and I'm not going to argue with somebody either way, because I have no way of knowing. And JJax has looked at this way more than I did, as far as crime lab stuff. So I'm not going to say that. I would probably tend to side with him because he's looked at this a whole lot more. See here, JJax. Let's see here. Scooby, you said I'm not sure how things work with the car crushing with Smile. So I'm assuming that you know about the car crushing. If I didn't,
she says, I'm not sure how things work with car crushing.
with
And then
Smile,
she says, so Jeremy, you're saying crushing the car would be a stupid thing to do?
Correct. Okay, is Scooby a male or female?
Female.
Okay, sorry. So you don't know how car crushing works? Yes, correct. Okay, I just read that first one with a smiley face, and it kind of looked like it was kind of like a. I took it as you were a person that crushed cars for a living. So,
no.
Yeah, no.
The opposite.
Yes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, it would have been a whole lot easier. Like, you got to understand too, there's bodies of water everywhere in Wisconsin where they're at. Like, I mean, it'd have been so easy to like go put it in the river. Like, you know,
Yeah, Allie is convinced that her keys are in the
I,
lake there.
listen, I firmly, I wouldn't, I think I tend to agree with her.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have but there've been so many easier ways than, like, if you look at it from what would have had to happen. If you, I've always said in this case, if you take, I'm gonna stick my foot in my mouth. There's people who look at this case with emotions involved, and you can't look at any case with emotions involved. It's very hard to do sometimes.
It's very hard to do in this
Very hard to
case
do,
for sure.
and you know,
Especially when you're thinking about Brendan.
sure, and I don't mean this in a bad way. Women tend to, I think it's the motherly thing. I think it's a way that females is built. You know, their heart goes out more towards you know, kids. And I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, sticking my foot in my mouth. I know I am.
I need to put
But
my disclaimer on here
yeah,
about how
put
all the opinions of my guests are
yes,
theirs, and I may or may
yes.
not agree with them.
Correct. No, it's, you know, on if you take more females versus males, the emotions, females have more emotions involved than males do on things. And I think, which is not a bad thing. I think that's good. But you have to take your emotions out of this, and look at it strictly from a factual standpoint. And that's how I've always looked at this case. I don't, and I know this sounds very weird to a lot of people, but I do not listen. I've listened to a lot of the calls, but I take things as fact. There has to be factual information. And what I mean by that, like, I don't even take what the officers put as factual information that they put in reports, because you can lie in a report. It's not, that can't be verified. I take only the things that can be verified by timestamps or radio transmissions, or that there was check-ins,
Mhm.
that can be verified with things, where stories corroborate on both sides. So when people say, "Well, did you listen to Stephen or did you listen to?" No, I didn't, because I can't take anything that he says as truth, because Stephen lies. I can't take anything Brendan says because Brendan lied. I can't take anything that, you know, Colburn says. I can't take people's, like, you have to take the emotions out of it. Um, you know, if you take that and look at strictly just the facts of this case, and you actually sit and look at things, like the way the fire supposedly was done, like it's physically impossible to have the fire the way it was. Like,
Mhm.
it defies laws of physics. Um, Same thing with the car. Like, the car, could it have happened that way? But you can't have him being the smartest person in the room and then being the dumbest person in the room. Like, if he's smart, he's going to take the car to Green Bay and light it on fire. You get rid of all the blood evidence. You get rid of everything. He could bleed out the whole thing in the car and light it on fire, and it's, you know, it's going to combust and you can't get any blood out of it. You know, that'd been the smartest thing to do. I'm not telling anybody to do any of this stuff. I'm just, uh, putting in the river would be probably the next thing that would destroy evidence. But if it was me, I would have lit it on fire. But definitely wouldn't take it and crushed it, because too many ramifications, too many ways to get caught. If you're going to put
Mhm.
that much work into it, only to turn on that he would know he would get caught. Like, if you're in the
Mhm.
car crushing business, you crush cars
Yeah,
and you
he
know what
knows.
happens,
Yeah.
he knows what's
Mhm.
going to happen. So for him to take all that work to know that to his family not to know, only to run the like, once it leaves the yard, he has no way to like, he can't stop the salvage yard or the recycle yard from running that tag or running the VIN.
Right.
Like, I mean, he has no control over that. So why would he crush it? And then, so why would he take everything apart? So then why would it be on why would you leave it on? Like, so you have to take everything and back everything. Like, that's the dumbest thing. Like, that's the last place that I would want it to be. I wouldn't want to be on, honestly, I'd want to be on Cuss Road. If
Mhm.
at the very most, get it off of my property. Like, you know,
So Dr. Silkman brought up the cremation event was very likely done in a burn barrel at the MCGP. And I know, Jeremy, you believe it couldn't have been done in a burn barrel. Is that correct? I think you
Um,
mentioned that before.
it- the way that it can be done in a burn barrel, it just has to be done. It can't. So when I did the study I did, it can't be done in the time frame, because you have the Dr. Silkman's right. It could have happened. Cremation could have happened in the burn barrel. It just couldn't have been done in the time frame that they say Stephen did it in a burn barrel.
What if
From
it
the
was several burn barrels, like 4 or 5?
Yeah, you could do it. So you have the two things that you have to have is heat and you have to have time.
Mhm.
So the less time you have, the more heat you have to have. A
Has
typical
anybody, oh, sorry, I just want to throw this question out
Sure.
there because I think Jinx is still here and J-Jax, obviously, Henbury and Dr. Silkman are all here. I've wanted to, for a long time, put together a timeline of these burn barrels and their movements because burn barrels were like taken here, taken there. One was taken away and brought back, and things were found in it after it was brought back to the Avery salvage yard. It's just a big unknown to me. Has anybody put
I
together, so
I
this
don't
has been a couple years that I've been wanting to do this, but has anybody since then put together a timeline of these burn barrels? There were 4 or 5 of them and where they went and when they came back.
I
Has
don't think that
anybody?
JJax, you could probably tell better than that. I
Well,
don't think
I'm
we have.
asking the audience here if anybody
Yeah,
has put one of those together, a timeline of
JJax
that
could
together.
tell you that because but I'm just throwing in my 2 cents. I don't think we have actual I know we have some of the documentation, but
We do, I think. It's just very
it's
confusing.
yeah, it's confusing. And I don't think it correlates. Um,
Henbury, can you direct me to a time at, not right this second, but at some point, can you shoot over a timeline of I'm just want to know about the burn barrels, the movement of the burn barrels,
okay, so Dr. Suckman and JJax,
Susan?
what you were saying is what I've said all along. Either she was burned in a crematory or she was cut up and put in smaller things. Um, that I I've I that it, I personally think that she was put in an incinerator because it'd been the easier way to do it. But you have to have a stomach to be able to do all that like that. I don't know if you've ever
Mm, mm. I wouldn't be able to do it.
let me yeah, it's the burn barrel. So people have been burned in a burn barrel, and to the degree that she was burned would take to do the time frame. We backed it out for the time frame. Um, a steel burn barrel starts to I'm going off memory. I think it's 1500 degrees. It starts to decay the burn barrel. You can burn a body at 1000 degrees. That starts breaking down the molecular structure of your tissue and bone. I'm sorry, your tissue and skin and stuff burns faster than that, but at 1000 degrees is where it starts breaking down but it takes several hours, if not days, to do that. But you have to have, so the higher the heat you have, like I think a crematory is typically 16 to 1900 degrees, like for 4 hours. And people also don't understand how you have to have fuel. And the other thing was fuel source. You have to have a fuel source. Incinerators use gas, so that's your constant flow through that. The
Right. And
wood,
wouldn't you have to tend to it for hours and hours?
if gas, you wouldn't have to,
Well,
but
not with gas, not in the incinerator.
oh
No,
yeah,
but in a burn barrel.
burn barrel, yeah, you'd have to have you have to have something combustible. We did the figuring on it. I had a couple of engineer friends of mine that were way smarter than me, that didn't have anything to do with the case. And I told them exactly what I'm trying to do, and they worked their magic. If you had, uh, they looked at the wood that was around there, and I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was oak. It was typical around there. It would take to do it. Let me back up and say, let me preface this. This isn't a burn barrel. This is an open pit. To create the amount of, so the physics of heat is heat rises. So you have to have something that the more containment you have, the more the heat stays in. That's why incinerator is sealed up. Another great temporary incinerator, like if you were doing that, would be a septic tank. Just throwing that out there for anybody wanting to burn a body. Uh, but you have something that traps the heat source in. If you have it open, that just means you have to have more fuel. So we figured, I should say they figured that it would have taken 50 big, like not the monster truck size tires, but the just regular truck tires. It would have taken 50 truck tires to burn it with tires, and you would have had a massive amount of smoke. And it would have taken, if you went the wood route, it would have taken 3 triaxle trailer loads of wood to burn the body in an open pit environment, and both of them would leave massive amounts of ash or rubber sludge and stuff
Soot
like you
and-
like yeah your like your byproduct of that. So the open pit thing is like it's that's just 3-year-old could yes. Yeah, so Dr. Soap, yes, correct. Bringing back what you said, the torso is missing. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if it was uh it'd have to in order to be done in a burn barrel, you would have to dismember the body. And so I don't know why they would have. I'm not arguing with anybody at all. So I think Dr. Soapman and them probably looked in this morning. I don't know the reason why they would bury the torso. Uh, I don't know how that would, because the torso was missing. I don't know why they would bury that and not put it with the rest of the stuff. I don't know. Maybe that just didn't burn enough and they decided to dump that part of it. And I would guess, because that would have the most, you have the most amount of organs and everything in there that would, I would imagine, but it had to be, that body would have to be cut up. So,
And I think they did find cut marks on some bones.
yeah, and
how they could tell, I don't know, but
I personally
apparently
don't buy
could.
I don't buy the gunshot theory. That's
Me
way
neither.
too far-fetched. I think that's
But who knows? I mean, if they
Yeah.
had investigated properly, maybe we would have some answers,
yeah.
but they didn't, so we don't.
If evidence, tools, bloody mess. Scooby, I'll be honest with you, I have never worked a dismembered body case. So, but yes, there would be tool marks of some kind. The best ones that I have looked at, people have gotten caught because of tool marks, in case studies that I've seen. Yeah, Jax, you have to have, so they would have to take out the pieces that would have the cut marks. Cause I mean, there was enough there. Jay Jackson and Dr. Sutton probably could answer this question, but, what percentage of the body, bones wise was like, it was like, I don't, some low number. So interview with her on Discord. Hey Scooby, send me a link to that if you don't mind. If you could send me a the Elaine Pope thing.
A
I'd like
link
watch
to
that.
what, Jeremy?
Scooby said Elaine Pope is a forensic
Elaine Pope.
anthropologist, specializes in burnt bodies, and she does simulations with cadavers. Post an interview. JJX, the ones that I looked at and looked into, they try to run them. I asked the guy, we have actually have an incinerator, oddly behind one of my offices in,
Missing 60%, says Dr. Silverman.
so 40% was 40% was is basically recovered. So, um, I'd like, yeah, professional crematoriums can run, they can run up that high, but typically they like to run them. I asked the crematory guy, and I've asked a couple other people that were in the crematory business. They tend to like to run them below 2,000. I don't know what the reasoning for that is. I assume that probably fuel ratio, like it doesn't burn the body faster. I don't, it all depends on the size of the crematory and everything, but ones I talked to were typically right under the 2,000 mark. Um, uh, honestly, just one of my thoughts that I thought that and this is just, I have nothing to go after besides just me. Again, this bring back what I said before about the, um, uh, crematory. I thought that she might have could have been a possibility she was burned in a, some kind of livestock, incinerator.
A
I
dairy
do-
farm,
yeah.
perhaps?
Dairy farm, perhaps. Yes, correct.
Hmm.
So because I do know somebody who lives up in the northern parts. I do know that my grandmother, um, my grandparents were lived in Minnesota, which is right about the same level as
Mhm.
where Manitowoc is from them in Minnesota, and she passed away in it's been several years ago. I think like November or December, and they couldn't bury her till because the ground was too frozen. They
Right. Yeah. They
they
can't do
couldn't
it in the
bury
winter.
her. So I was told that they have, and I'm still studying this part, but they have a lot of livestock because here they bury them. They don't have a whole lot that I know of. There's not a lot of incinerators here, but you can't up north. You can't. You have to. You can't just leave them there because then they just freeze and stink. They don't decay, like they would being in the ground, and um, they incinerate them. So that would be something you could get away with without really anybody knowing, because somebody may have who involved could have had but I'm not discrediting the whole thing um, of being burned in a burn. But I just know that it wasn't by Stephen in the amount of time that they say it that I do know for factual stuff on that. But other than that, I wouldn't. Yeah, Judge, you bring up a great question, a great thing. And how would anyone get close to the heat source radiating that much heat? Correct. Like, I put out a burn barrel and I just took the temperature of it, and it was like 900 degrees, and I couldn't stand my thermometer. It was hitting right around 900 degrees, my infrared thing, and like I couldn't stand within like closer than 2 feet for any amount of time frame. So I can just imagine having something, over that consistently is, um, um, I tend to agree with you too. I don't know if those are actually her bones.
Oh my God. Is that Travis?
Hey, all right, man.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello, Travis. Are you
somebody
alive?
somebody had a question.
Yeah, I had y'all in my ear. I had to go help a mayor
Oh, a
deliver
mayor is more important than us.
we have a brand new Colt.
Oh, a mayor.
Not the mayor. He didn't have to go help the mayor.
Not the mayor, a
The
mayor.
mayor, yes. That brings up a very funny story I'll tell us real quick. When I first went to the department I'm at now, it's kind of country, it's country area, and I'm one of our drone operators. An investigator called me out to come. They were looking for a stolen mule, and I'm thinking, okay, it's country area. Somebody stole somebody's, jackass, whatever. And so, so they're going to have me fly to look and see where if they thought it was a certain area, and I didn't get a whole lot of briefing information. I just was going with him out there, and then he takes off and looks at something, and he's like, that could be it. And he just takes off and leaves me there. Like, and I'm like, what is like, he was chasing after an ATV. And I'm like, what is he doing? I mean, he's a good friend of mine. I mean, I worked with him in other departments. He was my supervisor. And, I'm like, come back, like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you chasing after an ATV? He's like, I thought it could be it. I'm like, thought it could be what? And I'm still thinking this is a jackass, a mule. And he's like, well, the mule. And I'm like, what do you mean a mule? Like, explain to me what we're looking for. He goes, an orange mule. And I'm like, okay. First
What's an
off,
orange
no.
mule?
Oh, no.
orange is Kubota. That is not a Kawasaki is a mule. Nobody calls them mules anymore. It's called an ATV. I mean, a UTV.
Okay.
A Ranger possibly, but nobody classifies them as mules. Third of all, I'm not flying it because it's illegal because you need a search warrant. I thought we were looking at a pasture, an open pasture. Like, I know you're gonna have to go to a search warrant for me to fly. And then we got in a big argument about me flying. It was
Do we
before,
remember what the question was for Travis?
somebody had a question for Travis.
I don't remember what it was now, though. It's been
No, I don't
too
think they
long.
ever asked him. Okay, cool. Burn.
Anybody have any questions for Travis? Then
Oh, cool. Very cool. Got that one there. Dr. Sutman has
questions for
CSD.
Travis.
He has
Does
the answer.
anybody have any questions for
It's-
Travis?
It's I think we're on like a 30-second delay. That's what
Yes,
that's
that
what
is
I
true.
said.
Good old YouTube. Who's the guy on the
YouTube.
top right?
That would be the mayor. He looks like a mayor. He does look like a mayor. Not gonna
Travis,
lie.
you look like a mayor.
He does look
A
like
mayor or a mayor?
Right.
A mayor or a
So
mayor?
we thought the reason you left is because we ate up all of our billable hours, and so we
Nope, they kept popping in, and I, I think we're going to need your help. And so let nature take its course, and then I think we're going to need your help.
Mm,
So anyway, all good.
the
right.
So here's the thing. While we're waiting for chat, you know, a mule, as in the four-legged kind, um, not a jackass. It's a cross between a donkey and a
yes
horse.
yes
They're infertile. Mostly they're infertile females, but every once in a while you'll get a male. And incredible. They can walk up sides of mountains and pack stuff out. They can jump a 6-foot fence.
Yep.
Most ranches and farms don't have 6-foot fences. And so you know how you keep mules in a pasture and not wandering off and jumping fences?
dog.
Put a gray mare in with them and they won't run away.
Huh.
I don't know why, but it's true. Look it up. Google it.
Wow.
So since
I like
Stacy
it.
is here, Stacy, you missed the new opening theme video. Would you like to see it? Does anybody want to see it?
Yeah, I want to
While
see
we're
it.
waiting for questions for Travis.
Yeah,
You've seen it, Travis,
so
but
that's
we
our
can
friend
watch it.
Stacy in there. Is
Yeah,
here.
Stacy's here.
Hey, Stacy. So Stacy came down and visited us in Austin.
Did you
We
have
had
a
good-
gray mare for him to
Yeah, we had
hang
a
out with?
really good time. Saw all the Austin sites. He got to play some really cool guitars and talked about this case a whole bunch. Joel noticed I was wearing a Dr. Pepper hat.
Yeah.
And anywho, yeah, that was a really good time. But my friend Stacy is so incredibly talented. I mean, music, art,
Yeah.
scripts.
Photos.
You know, I bet if he did a screenplay or a musical about this, it would just take off. But yeah, good to see you, Stacy. When are you coming back to see us? We're going to try and get up there, maybe in July. I'm flying all over the country to see the Rolling Stones. They're going to be up in Vancouver July 5th. Don't know if you'll be around.
I almost died going to see the Rolling Stones once at the Silver Dome, the Pontiac Silver Dome in Detroit.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was scary for a minute. I had to climb up on top of this phone booth. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
There was a
Yeah, I
phone
do
booth on the
remember.
wall. I had to climb up on top of it in order to not be crushed. It was scary. But anyway, it was a good show.
But yeah, play the beginning. You have that queued up. Play
I
the beginning.
do. Hold
Yeah.
on. Let me share my
Yeah.
screen.
And, thank you so much, Stacy, for letting Finn use your material.
Hell yeah. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Let's keep talking about Avery. Yeah, let's keep talking till he's set free. Oh, you just listen, I think you'll see why it matters. It really matters. I could go on listing things off, any more things. I just keep on singing these songs till Avery's freedom rings. I said it matters. It really does. I know it matters. This could be you. I said it matters. This could be me. I said it matters. Work with KZ. I said it matters. It really matters. I said it matters.
Yeah, awesome. 80 more things. So when
Pretty cool
Stacy
thing.
was down here, we were talking about something, and I believe it was maybe that what a good thing it potentially could be that Colburn filed his civil suit against Netflix and the producers of Making a Murderer. And we were talking about why that could be, and that I said, well, the discovery, truth and absolute defense. So you could go out and get discovery about the truth, and so truth and absolute defense. And then I don't think he wrote it down in a notebook, but he obviously made a mental note, because 3 or 4 weeks later he had a song, truth, the absolute defense, and he put a thing, inspiration for this song from my friend Travis down in Austin, and yeah, total tunesmith, unbelievable.
I'm going to put a link to the song.
Yeah, and Finn put in the info, Stacy's YouTube
Yep, it's in the
page. It's all in there, and check it out if you haven't seen him, seen his stuff before. It's good on any level, whether you're into the case or not. I mean, all of that stands on its own. But if you're familiar with the case and a supporter, it's obviously rings very close to the heart.
Who asked me?
yes.
Somebody
Were you going to
asked.
say something, Jeremy?
Yes. Somebody asked me where I don't have a strong Southern accent. I think is what it was. Somebody, Scooby said. So I moved 18 times by the time I was 18 years old. So I lived in Iowa, Michigan, Texas, Louisiana, Indiana. So I kind of have, to those people, when I go up there, they're like, you have a really bad Southern accent, but other people don't think I do. So
Well, man, they're all corrupt in Louisiana.
I believe that. I believe that. Oh, and while we're on the subject, and I've been meaning to bring this up, while we're on the subject of regional, you know, how things work, a lot of people that are, and it's cool to see that there is a ton of people that are from all over the world that follow this case and are looking at things. So things that we do here, even in the United States, people don't understand. Like if you're from an urban environment versus a county environment, and how things used to be done, even like in this for law enforcement back from 2008 to now, it's just a whole different world. What people don't understand is like, for example, burning the trash. I know this gets brought up a bunch with people. Like, he doesn't know when he burned the trash. You have to understand, southern people or county people don't have. That's how they. This is what they do. Like, if I would ask, equate it to asking you, 3 weeks ago, what day did you take out the trash um to the garbage can? Like, you wouldn't be able to tell me. And that's what they did. That's what, I've lived places before that you burned your trash. And some people would, they wait till they have two or three of them there. A lot of people burn them when they're there. So it's not a common,
Yeah,
like,
tell them when you burn your trash in a rural area.
yeah. And so,
No, tell them when you burn it.
we always burned it whenever we took something out there, because you don't want something stinking. You don't want, um, not everybody does it, but, majority of people burn it as soon as when they take it out there. And then
Yeah, you typically burn it when it's full,
yeah, but I
unless
mean,
you're in a rural area.
Yep.
That's got bears, and then
well,
if you
where
don't have a
there was
bear-proof barrel, then you gotta burn it right then and there.
there was 6 of us in the house, so we took out trash pretty much on a daily basis. So
you were a
we
twice a day
yeah,
family.
we burned, and Joker
You
was
were
always
one of those
burning. And
rich
so
families that had two barrels,
yeah, yes, yeah,
a morning barrel and an
yes,
evening barrel.
exactly. Yeah, we didn't live too many places you had to burn trash, but you got to think those places there, like, to people that are overseas, or even some people that are United States, are like, he doesn't remember we burned his trash. I'm like, you don't, like, that's not it's nothing to be memorable. Like, it's no different than you taking your trash to the trash barrel. Like, you just have a burn barrel and you throw a match in there with some kerosene, or however you're lighting it with a lighter, and you put something combustible in it with it, and it's not a big deal. It's, um, and that's how the Averys cleaned up everything. Like, they're like, well, he had a big bonfire. Like, well, okay, like, that's how they get rid of everything. You gotta, like, their seats and everything, because they took out the cars. It was not uncommon for them to pile them all up in the pallets and stuff they got in. They'd put them all in and have a bonfire. So it's not anything unusual. And that's what a lot of people don't understand in this case. This is a rural environment, and if you're not from a rural environment, things seem odd that aren't odd. Um, there were some other things that I've seen people say that was really odd, and I'm like, no, that's not odd at all. Like, it's not memorable to you. It would be if I took any of you out that have never burned trash before. You'd remember that for the rest of your life. But
Yeah.
that's a daily occurrence for those people would be fascinated by the fact that you could take your trash to a dumpster and just throw it in a dumpster. Like, what you do? What there? You put it in a barrel and somebody picks it up? Like, that's weird. So,
Finn, you've been there a couple of tree times.
tree times.
Scooby's in chat. I don't know if Scooby lives in the big city or not, but Finn, you've lived all over. And what did you think about did it strike you as being more rural than you thought? What did you think?
Ben is muted for some reason. I don't know why she's muted.
Where'd Finn go?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Maybe Scooby's been there a bunch. I think Scooby lives urban, and but
I
she's
remember-
used to be the rural part of it.
I remember Allie talking about it, and because she's been up there a couple times, and she was saying how rural that it was. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere. There's a guy that's
No, it's not really. It's
no, I mean,
right on the lake.
well, what I'm saying is it goes from being something to the middle of nowhere quickly, as far as like it's
That
way
is
rural.
true.
That is, it's very rural environment where it's at for where it's at. I mean, Green Bay's only what, an hour, and as far as Green Bay, less than an hour.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Less than an hour, about an hour.
it
It's
gets
10-minute helicopter flight. We figured
Yep.
out. You remember that? Just
oh Lord,
trying to figure out Eagle 1,
Eagle Wugga 3. Yeah,
Is
that
it a
was
Eurocopter, a Bell 226?
good grief. That was a
Oh,
rabbit
man.
hole that I think that's how we actually got to know each
Yeah.
other pretty well, was
And then I
that.
went, hey, Allie from Defense Diaries asked this question. We know anybody in law enforcement can answer this question. That's exactly right. We were in a chat somewhere and trying to figure out, and my go-to is always Jack 61 and Jay Jackson here about how do we know that, and then Jack told us about some dispatch calls, and then but I think at one point people thought that it was part of something search and rescue, a nonprofit.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm like, nonprofits don't usually have the dough to run even an efficient Eurocopter. But there was a name that was really, really close to what the LLC that leased the helicopters, and to dig through that stuff to finally figure it out.
I and J-Jax, I think, all kind of stumbled our way through that, and man, I don't even remember all of it. It's a rabbit hole. I don't want to go back down again because
you had to go through
that
this obscure channel.
Yeah, and one of them was like you were like, that doesn't sound like a Bell. That sounds like a was it Eurocopter? Was it?
I had said it doesn't sound like a Eurocopter. A Eurocopter is a twin engine, turbine engine, runs on jet fuel. A Bell is a single engine. To me, it didn't sound like a twin engine. And
and I'm like, holy cow!
Finally, gave it to a police helicopter pilot, 30 years, and he's like, yeah, he said, at first it does sound like a single engine Bell 226, but he said, you got to remember, it's a handheld 8mm camera, and the microphones in the front of that thing, the way you're normally listening to the sound, we wear Dick Clark, those green headphones with the mouthpiece that have a lot of noise attenuation, because you're used to hearing it through minus 30 dB headphones, and it's going to sound different. But he said, if you take the headphones off, he goes, I think you're going to see. But yeah, that's the camera that they filmed it on. Takes this 8mm stuff, And back in the day, we didn't have like 8K quality special effects phones. Didn't have that, and would never consider shooting video on a phone unless you just didn't have anything else. But that 8mm stuff was great. Could use it for court, interview witnesses with it, whatever. But yeah, but that's exactly right. I go, hey, Jeremy says it does sound like a twin engine.
Well,
And
what was
that's
confusing,
what that place had in Green Bay is
what was confusing, then the company name was Eagle 3, and
Eagle
then
One. Company was Eagle One, and then
Was-
one of the radio dispatches is
yes, it was Eagle 1, and then named their helicopters.
Calumet, this is Eagle One, Eagle 3, meaning I'm from Eagle One
And my bird is Eagle
Copter
3.
and
then
I need to talk to the sheriff by phone.
yeah, and then what was more confusing that I found out later is that they took they had a helicopter they replaced, and they called it Eagle 3, but still had the old Eagle 3, and actually it crashed. It
Yeah.
crashed and killed the pilot. I think like a year or two later. But like, why have like the company name is Eagle One, and then you name your birds Eagle like numbers, and I'm like, I feel there should be like Falcon One or something like that, like to avoid any confusion. That was yeah, it was Eagle 3, but the company name was Eagle One.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was something weird on that, and it was like, man, and then to find out, like, because if you looked up Eagle 3, it gave you two different kind of helicopters. I was like, why do you have two different helicopters? And then I realized they got one and then put the other one as a backup. Actually, Eagle 3 that helped out in the search and rescue for that week. They replaced it not soon after that, and that was now the backup helicopter, and that Eagle 3 actually crashed, and the one that actually helped. And
then we caught that Coast Guard guy calling up and said, well, he's unavailable. This is Commander so-and-so at Coast Guard Station, which is all the way around. I mean, that's like an hour and a half away. He said, well, we've got this request to help search, but we need to know if it involves a body of water. Because Coast Guard isn't going to search over land except in very unusual circumstances. So Finn's back.
Finally, where'd you go?
Your mare's okay, Finn. You're muted.
You guys don't pay attention to anything. I said I was going to refill my water.
Well, see, I didn't.
So what did you think when you visited there about how
I thought it was rural. I mean, the salvage yard itself was pretty far out there. It was a long drive in the middle of nowhere, I thought.
And
Yeah,
then
but-
Manitowoc.
Manitowoc itself, I mean, that wasn't, I mean, that's a little city there.
Did
Yeah.
you find it like, I mean, rural's rural, right? Rural Ohio is rural
Mhm.
Indiana, is rural Wisconsin, is
and that's
all the
one
same
thing that
everywhere, isn't it?
the
Rural
funny
is rural, that's for sure. When you look up at the sky at night and you can see all the stars, you know you're out there.
exactly. Yeah, that's everybody makes fun of us in Alabama, and I'm like, there's so much correlation to Manitowoc to this. I'm like, I feel like we could just take the same department and put it in like for what happened. So yeah, it's I think
Can you tag a hit deer, a deer killed on the highway? Can you tag a deer in Alabama and bring it home?
I'm gonna say, and I'd have to check the game warden law because we don't enforce game warden laws. Here, I don't think it counts as a tag. Because in Alabama you get $1 a day, like it's retarded. You get during buck
I would
season.
like to once again say my
it's a-
guests' opinions do not
it's
necessarily reflect my opinions, including the words they use. Go ahead, Jeremy.
it's a buck a day. So if it's killed with a vehicle and you have a last when we worked, the guy wanted the deer and we gave it to him. So and nobody tags anything as far as like we do. You have to tag deer during deer season, but that was a police report we had. So as far as I know, I don't think you have to use a game. You don't have to use a tag. That may be the that wasn't the letter of the law, but some laws have changed, and I haven't deer hunted in a couple of years. So, oh, I wanted to add something while I was thinking about it, and for anybody who's squeamish and listening to this, now would be a good time to mute for a minute. I worked last week missing persons and to save, let's see here, I gotta choose my words wisely here. Person was missing from Monday, and we found person on Saturday. They had passed away. I'm trying to choose my words here. They had passed away, and the manner in which they last stage when they passed away was in a ditch, and the amount of it had rained quite a bit. The amount of decomposition for the part that was in the water, and when I say in the water, we're talking it had rained, so it was mostly dried up. I mean, if you're talking about just maybe this much water, like at the time of when we found that person, but the amount of decomp that was versus the part that never was underwater was amazing to me. It was it made me reflect on this case because just from water alone, like I don't want anybody to hear this that knows the family or anything. It was a lot of decomp in that short amount of time. So that made me think of how in this case, just a short amount of time, if that would have been put in water, the body would have been put in water, how much of a decomp it would have been different than being in the stages of decomp, I guess is what I was trying to get at with that. But it reflected to me on this as far as how a body reacts during different stages during death, and the ways I didn't realize it accelerated that quickly in just water. I've heard of people putting in acid and a body in acid and to get rid of the body and stuff. But just knowing that was water really was fascinating to me. I think I would change my method in getting rid of a body to something liquid. And I don't know why I chased that rabbit, but I chased that rabbit. Again, the reflections of this channel does not reflect about the owner of the channel.
So Henberry says, what about pupil casings?
What about?
Would you like to expand on that, Henberry?
Pupil casings? What is that? I gotta Google that. Any of y'all can jump in at any time if you know what it is.
What was the
I think
question?
it's I think what he's
Hey,
getting at is
Henberry.
how many bugs have laid their eggs there and
Okay.
hatched.
Okay.
So,
Like,
yeah,
and that gives you an idea of how long
Yes.
it's been. I assume that's what you're
Yes.
talking about.
we have
Henry-
the
Henbury.
world's largest body farm right outside of Austin, south of Austin, in San Marcos, where Texas State University is. And I think what they'll tell you, and Hembury can answer this, and probably Scooby too, water actually slows decomposition because of the temperature and the versus being out in the air. And then you don't have eggs that lay, flies that lay eggs and aid in decomposition. But what you do have that accelerates things is predation. And so it seems like, it just depends on a large number of factors, but
Yes, this did have a lot of pupil casings. There was a ton of pupil casings that
crawdads, it was the crawdad or turtles or yeah, but
no,
it's
this was all larvae and insect related and orifices.
in the part
So-
that was submerged.
So it wasn't submerged the whole time, and that was probably what it was. It was
Okay.
it was
Mhm.
probably because like when we turned, so I had to fly the drone, and I had to get like really, 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 really close, zooming in. So I got to, well, I helped move the body also. So, which is not funny. To me is, so I am a mercy gift. As far as like I have, if somebody's in pain, I go into shock. I can inflict pain. Like I can break somebody's bones and it doesn't bother me at all because if I'm fighting with somebody, that doesn't bother me at all. But if like they come up to a car wreck, they know that I won't go up to the scene, because I go into shock. But, um, but like the body doesn't, like the body didn't bother me at all. Smelling the body didn't bother me at all. It's very, very odd to me.
Well, Henbury was reminding us that pupil casings were found with some of the bones.
Now that I know with this one it had rained. Is this recorded? Like can we watch this back later on, or is
This should be on YouTube. It should be.
like this? Well,
Yeah,
is
this
archived?
is currently airing live on YouTube, and it will be on the channel when we're finished.
Okay. All right.
As
So
under the live
I
section.
would have gone into greater detail if it's not, but
Yeah, don't go into too much detail.
yeah, but in this case, yeah,
Oh, that's a good point, Scooby. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, you're
Continue
good.
with your thought. I
No,
didn't mean to cut you off.
in this case, it was actually it was a ditch on the side of the road, and the reason why we actually we did a Facebook post and asked for, like, the family was kind of, they kind of told some stuff, but it didn't give us anything to go on of where she was or anything like that, and we got some information through something finally, like maybe Thursday or Friday, and there was a couple of people that replied to our Facebook post, that they had seen a woman matching that description acting weird on the interstate, or on the highway, which our main part of our town is highway, is a 4-lane highway. And so we actually they called me in, and again, I'm an hour and a half away, and I was like 30 minutes further away, so I was 2 hours away from. Told them I gotta go home and take a shower real quick, and I'm at least gonna be 2 hours from there, and I was like 15 minutes away, and they found her. Like I was 15 minutes away, so I did fly to for the body. I flew we pretty much knew what it was. It was a, we, what were this? Um, uh, she had, the person had taken, we think a lot of medication, she had some mental illness, history of
Mhm.
mental illness, and I think she took a lot of medication.
So Scooby had brought up that fish and other creatures will feed on the bodies, and it comes the factor of salt versus freshwater also comes into play. This was
Yeah.
freshwater, I assume.
Yeah, it's fresh water and in just a side of the road ditch, so it would get water and then just dry up. But it had rained a lot that week, so I'm sure at some point it went from like just being sloshed in the water when we found the person, to probably at one time, the way the I would probably say maybe a foot deep,
Mhm.
at some point when it was raining. It was just the side of the road, what comes off of that. So, but there was a lot of uh, stuff that decomp of that, and then of the I didn't realize that's what puplications were. Um, there was a lot of said um, larvae and such. So it was pretty much dry um, when we found her, but um, one of the searchers had found her. And the bad part about it is the daughter actually came to the scene, came to the
Oh
came to the
no.
like the my sergeant was there and they just had found her, and the daughter had came up, and luckily like everybody thought that you could see into the ditch kind of dropped just a little bit, but with grass. So made it look like it was more level than what it was. So it had like a washed out area, and she was in that washed out area. So if you're standing on top of the road, you couldn't see, even though it was 20 feet away, you couldn't see her until you probably 10 feet in, you could see her. Um, the daughter came up and, uh, my sergeant went, kind of got in between her and the body and went, "Hey, why don't you go back to the house
Yeah.
and we'll organize some stuff there." And then he gets on the radio. I'm coming in. I don't have a patrol car. I'm just coming in my personal vehicle. And there was another our canine officer was coming in, and he was like, man, he was probably 20 something minutes away. And I remember him saying that he was fixing to go code to go to their house because they were fixing to put two and two together, because they were fixing to organize a search party, and they were fixing to put two and two together of what was being said. Now our radio system is trunked, which means you can't listen to it on a scanner. So they wouldn't have heard it on a scanner, but uh, the we knew that. So we actually sent another reserve officer over there to kind of just be with them and kind of just not say anything as far as, I don't even know if he knew or not, the reserve officer. I want to say he did, but I don't know if he did. But I know our canine officer ran code that 20 minutes to get there before the family realized what had happened, and they came out there because we had to, shut down part of the highway, and I flew it, and they were the coroner had to come out and do their autopsy stuff, and I flew it. We have a new officer that is going in the academy right now, and he was actually on scene, and so I showed him how I would fly an actual crime scene if it was. I actually flew it like it was a crime scene because it was a field right next to it. So I said we're going to fly the field, even though we know what happened. They knew what she had done before. Um, and the circumstances behind it. I'm not gonna go into any more detail than that, but we knew it wasn't foul play. But I said, if it was a case we didn't know it was foul play, I went and flew around the whole perimeter, and I flew out and I flew the route that she would have walked, and I flew the route back to her house, and I flew several routes. So, I said, and it brought up something like for this case, like I was pointing out, I said, I'm deeply involved in the case. I said, and I said, they didn't have, I said, you know what nobody's ever complained about? He said, what? I said, that there was too much documentation.
That's
There
for
was,
sure. I mean, bringing it back to the Avery case, there was one particular detective. Is Jinxie still here?
um,
She knows who I'm talking about. She called
Let's
him no report Jacobs.
oh yeah, he was,
I don't think he ever did a report.
yeah. And, I haven't deep dived into, and this is something I want to deep dive into. Um, um, I know
We
that it was
have
said,
15 minutes. I have a hard stop in 15 minutes,
I
so
like it.
go for it.
I would like to know, like, I've heard that a lot, and JJax could probably help me with this, possibly. I would like to deep dive into, supposedly most of the officers didn't do reports for like 7 months afterwards, and I have a very hard time with that. Um, I am wondering if possibly that wasn't the final reports that were gone
No, that was
through.
Colburn's problem. He claims, so they go out and he goes out and talks to Avery first in response to this assist other agency and attempt to locate. Goes out there, drives by zippers, heads back, helps with the zipper thing. We have our famous phone call. Now we know all of that, but not from his report. He didn't prepare a full report November 3rd. He testifies, and Strang goes into this for 5 full pages. I mean, it's just a work of art. If there's one transcript you read from the case, read Dean Strang's cross-examination of Andrew Colburn. And he just lays it out how important it is. And then to do prompt reports, accurate. And then, so now in this one, you didn't prepare a report. It was 8 or 9 months later. And why? Well, I didn't know we were doing reports on this because it was just assisting another agency, and just this whole long thing about why he didn't prepare a report, and that that was his problem. And then because he hadn't prepared a report, he guessed in his testimony and guessed that he used his usual practice, and he guessed that he made that telephone call 2 hours, at least 2 hours prior to when he did. But no, most of MTSO hadn't prepared reports regarding the 3rd or the 4th. Just really weird. And then you can comment, Jeremy, on their reporting system. Everyone I've ever dealt with, except the most rural ones, that they literally did it on a word processor and typed in the date and the time and a little blurb. But they're not time coded. Really unusual.
Yeah. Every report we've ever written, of course now it's so much different now too, because everything's just automated. But I, like we always timestamp everything, and just put, like, of course I had a when I did have to write reports for things, supplemental reports and stuff, like we had some sergeants that were like sticklers, like I watched a new guy, like sergeant's looking at his paper. He goes, see this? And he just wads it up, throws the paper, and he's like, okay, now write me a report. Like, didn't even tell him what was wrong, just like wadded up, threw it away. And he's like, yeah, that's not a report. Like, I don't know what that was, but it didn't tell me anything. So, like, every department I've ever been in, like, it's a stickler for reports, and I find it
I used to be
so.
an EMT, and if you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. That's just the way it is.
No, I will tell you, we don't write reports like I do. I would understand the assisting the other agency on zippers. I could see that not being a report. It should have been a report right after they found out that it turned into a murder. It should have been like they should have done it then, because we don't write reports about everything. Like it's if it's but once you find out um once you find out that it's part of an investigation, like everything, you go back and try to remember everything you can and write it then, like right then. So the shortest amount of time. Now, granted, I know what they're going to say is they're going to say, well, they were involved in the investigation and didn't have time to write stuff. They shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have been involved in the investigation to begin with. But if the moment that the RAV was found and things were found, it should have gone. They should have had a report about zippers, like anything that was there. And you can go back like that. That's how we found it at things. They could have gone back and asked for times. Like they could have gone back and asked for, when did this take place? They can, dispatch keeps record of all that. So, dispatch has always, the whole time I've been in law enforcement, dispatch has always kept a log, just their own logs of what, even the Mickey Mouse stuff, there's a log of it. Just basically like, the tag number, like if we're calling to check on a vehicle or something like that, just a little blurb about it, but that it's timestamped. So
Yeah, and one of the foul play calls, I think it's on November 5th, that foul play has on their YouTube channel and on the foul play website in their files. I think it's on the 5th. But you have a supervisor, I can't remember exactly who, phoning into dispatch saying, hey, can you look up something for me? I need to find out when I logged in, I need to find, but basically he was wanting things that he knew would be documented by dispatch to help him recreate a report. And that's pretty common, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's nothing that says you can't go back and, like I said before, some of the stuff they're trying to recall was 2 years back for that. But so even things for a couple of days back, it's nothing uncommon to go ask, if it's something you got to turn into a report and, hey, you guys will talk through it and, hey, of what you remember best. And, one person will remember something and another person will remember something else. Like, oh yeah, that's right. And they'll, recall things that way. But if you don't write it down, like it's just, no,
if you don't write it down when you go out to check on somebody, you don't write down what time you go and check on another house, and you don't indicate even in the summary report that he did, you don't document, and you don't have a system that consolidates all of that, like most departments, even small departments these days. All of that would get consolidated, and you'd have all of that information to, like you say, automated reports. It gave String the opportunity to say, we've asked for all radio traffic, we've asked for all telephone calls, and this is what they gave us. And just, one telephone call, no radio traffic, makes no sense whatsoever. And then his report didn't indicate anything why he would be or needing to be calling in a license plate on the 3rd. So String was able to effectively argue.
Yeah.
I think it happened on the 4th on his day off.
Yeah. I mean, because as a defense attorney, that's his job. His job is to poke holes in everything. So,
it's just so bizarre to me how So, they couldn't rehabilitate him. And, there was a lunch break and they had plenty of time to, okay, we're going to play, let's listen to the radio. And I don't know if they went, well, we can't do that. We've only produced this CD, I don't know. I don't know if they just never thought to pull it themselves. And Kratz didn't know he could rehabilitate him with all of this stuff. Or if he's like, shit, I didn't give it to him, so I can't rehabilitate him with it. But then he files the civil case, and his civil attorneys could have gotten all of this. And they could have laid it out, but no, it goes from, no, it must have been right after I called in. I wanted to confirm what I'd written down, and, it was in the dark and wanted to make sure I had it right. And he, like you said, he kept doubling down. And to the end, I mean, there's a Post-Crescent, that's the Wisconsin newspaper, Post-Crescent article talking about one of the other documentary episodes. And according to Candace Owen, a conservative, who's blah, blah, blah. And, this all made sense. He wasn't looking at the plate. He was simply verifying information that he had received. Like, no, he wasn't. He was told to do it, and he did it. About the only thing he got right at trial was it must have been, I can't remember if he said Wiegert. Pretty sure he did. Wiegert must have, whatever it was, but he clearly said, the detective must have asked me to do it, or, but it's just completely bizarre. And memory is a weird thing. If you don't document this stuff, and experience, part of experience is what to document, what potentially could be important, just like an EMT. For sure you're going to document the vitals, and you're going to document them, whatever the protocol says, how often to do it for whatever the condition of the patient is. And there are some things you just have to be documented and accurately, with times, administration of medication, and maybe the brand of shoes they're wearing, not so much. But you got to document this stuff. Critical.
Well, Henbury, and I'll clarify what I was saying with that. So the only time that we don't like we don't write reports for,
5-minute warning. 5-minute warning.
We don't document things for it's documented in just the logs, but we don't want to report on, like, if we go check on a house, alarm call, and there's you hear the alarm going off, but you don't see anything, all the doors are secure. We don't write anything about that. But turn around and find out a week later that there's 2 dead bodies in there. So the investigators can come back to him and say, hey, I need a report written on what you did. And he's going to go back and go, well, I went and checked every door and I did this. And, he may write, like, he may put in there, something that maybe stuck out to him. The investigator actually probably would interview him, in all honesty, want to report, but also would interview him of anything that may seem to have been out of place, or does he remember anything that kind of maybe stuck out now that he knows that there's a dead body in there that didn't before. That's what I'm talking, things that we don't write a report on that turn around, and that's very rare, but if there's more than one person there, they'll go through and write a
Okay. Well, thank you both so much for being guests on 80 More Things. It was really, thank you for asking me to do this too. I haven't done anything with 80 More Things in such a long time, and there are lots of different reasons for that, but it was really wonderful to see everybody here tonight. Really, really
No.
some great memories, and it's nice to meet you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
And have you here, and Travis, of
Hopefully
course.
I can
You're
get
always
that,
welcome, both of you.
hopefully I can get that recycle person to.
Yes, that would be great. And when you
review.
do, we will, maybe we can do another podcast.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Finorino, for first for agreeing to do this with us, and then for all of your hard work on
Yes.
putting the video together. I mean,
I think she took a 3-hour rambling that we did to an hour. So that's
To
a
an
lot of
hour,
it
work.
yeah.
was going to be us putting our iPhones on a rock with tripods,
Yes.
and
Yes.
sitting, and then the level would have been considerably different level of production, and can't thank you enough, and really great. And Stacy, thank you for letting Finn use your great music. You have an outro?
I don't know, especially not for a live. I mean, I don't know how I would do that.
Get Stacy on here and have him
Yeah.
play something
Maybe
out.
maybe I'll do another live episode and have Stacy come and play us some music. What do you
But
think?
yeah, it was great seeing all of the familiar faces and
Yeah.
a few new ones, and Henbury, Scooby, Susan,
Gosh, everybody's
30 of
just
them, and then
wonderful.
people
Yeah.
rotated in and out. I think they came in
Yeah.
in shifts. They obviously kept you busy, and so
I'd
Stacy,
also
you better
like
learn
to,
your songs again.
I'd also like to thank
Practice.
me being the new person, relatively, probably been in this 2 years, probably. Thank you for everybody who's opened their arms to me and kind of accepted me in the community. And I really appreciate a lot of the knowledge that you guys put time into, that shared that with me, and it means a lot. So thank you so much.
It's always
from
nice to get a
everybody.
fresh perspective too, Jeremy.
yeah,
from-
it's great. And that's how this whole thing started. Just to mention it one last time before we go, is Defense Diaries. Actually think somebody in a Foul Play live chat mentioned it. May have been Jack. Anyway, they said, yeah, they're defense attorneys and they're going through the thing start to finish. I think they're up to 11 episodes, but it's Defense Diaries podcast, and they have a Facebook page. Check them out. They're starting from square one. They reached out to Foul Play, got documents, because that's now really the only source, with that other website shutting down. And they're really going through it without without any regard for any documentary, ma'am, or anybody else's, to give a fresh look. And the response has been positive. But this particular video got prompted by the part where they covered the phone call, and Allie said, "Gee, is that?" And there's a disagreement between Bob, her husband. They're both defense attorneys. They're like, "Well, I think he's looking at it," and the other, "Well, no, I just think this is something they do." Well, is there anybody in law enforcement can tell us? Is this something y'all do? And now we know. Yeah, hell yeah, he should. That's my vote.
I'll add one to the end result for Travis. And an extra one for Jinx.
Jinx. But more than
Thank you
once.
all for watching. For the
Yes.
how long we've been on here?
I don't know.
Do we have
Some
Three.
of us longer than others.
It says 3 hours. Has it really been that long? It doesn't feel
Yeah,
that
plus-
long.
Plus
Finn,
an
what-
hour
what-
and a quarter.
What was the
Thanks for hanging in, guys. Really appreciate it.
what was the most amount of people we had in here at one time? Is
I
there a
don't
way to-
know. I don't
17
know.
watching now.
Oh, we go for
I think like 30.
We go for quality.
Yes.
Never been about quantity ever.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, everybody. I guess
Right.
it looks like we might be begging Stacy to come do a live with us. So
I like it.
I will certainly announce it if and when that happens.
This group's never been unanimous about anything. That's, I mean, that's unbelievable.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. See you next time.
All right.